Really?
All right, so let me get everybody else going and we'll get this other one deleted. And in the meantime, now that we're early, I knew that was going to happen. For some reason, I just knew it. So, okay, so hey guys, for those of you that can see us, we had some technical difficulties, which I was trying to not have happen, but of course it is always the thing. So while I get everything switched over so people learn where we are, let me just introduce you guys tonight to our fun night that we're going to have for oracle readings. My good friend Ruth, who I don't get to see very often and don't get to talk to very often. Ruth, do you want to talk a bit about yourself and explain what you do and how you got into it?
I do. Well, I guess I'm a medium. By accident. I was just telling David, who I also just met, and I can't see anymore, by the way. So
you can't see me?
Can't see. Oh, I can only see you when you switch.
If you change the gallery view in the top right-hand corner, it might pop up.
I don't want to touch anything because then it's going to blow up. But okay, you're still there. So as we were just talking about, I actually one day, it really happened this way. I just woke up and I was hearing voices, just like the movies. So I thought, well, okay, I definitely have a mental illness. And I was coming to terms with that. And, what's it going to be like to live in that space? And I actually booked an appointment with a local psychic and a medium just for some intuitive guidance to find out how do I navigate that? And, how do I handle that? And when I went, I really thought she was going to tell me the next chapter of my life and how I would deal with that. And she's like, "Oh, you're actually just like me." And I was like, "Well, schizophrenic." And she's like, "No, I mean, you're medium." And I was like, but the reason that I thought that I had something going on, like I was having a mental break, it was a really stressful time in my life, was because there had been something on the news, a place that I spent a lot of time in vacationing, and a local bartender in that area had gone missing. And I knew she was dead, and she came and said, "I was murdered." And she was screaming, "I was murdered." And I was like, "I have lost it. Oh my goodness." And I was like, "Well, you got to go tell somebody that can help you because, I can't help you." And she wanted me to go to the police, and it was just really all too much for me. But fast forward 9 years, luckily I was able to fall into the hands of a good medium who had worked with the police, who had worked with murder victims. And so that was all true. And we went on from there. So now I try to work with people that are just seeking some peace, and help them develop their own psychic abilities, and also let them know that, dead is not gone. It's just different. I also do a little bit of space clearing sometimes. I've gotten away from that since, I have another small child. I have 3 kids now, and space clearing for me is dangerous. You bring creepy things home. It's kind of like bed bugs, but, the supernatural version of the bed bug. So you don't want that in your house, really. And that's about it. I mean, that's enough.
Cool, that's great. Temple, you're muted, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna
I thought she was just giving me the uncomfortable stare.
That was great, Ruth.
All right, I got you. And I got you too. So you do mediumship, and you've also talked with the Palladians, right? They were like one of the first to come in.
Yeah, they were.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, that's so funny that you mentioned that, because I was just thinking how that was one of my beginnings, and I actually experienced some great physical healings. They assisted me with that, and I kind of miss them. But I just feel like at this phase in my work, I've although they pop in occasionally, I've mostly gone on to kind of just work with humans who are just seeking some connection, where you've gone on to just do all that stuff. So generally when I want to connect with them, I go to you instead, because they don't show up the way that they used to. But yeah, I did have some experience with them, and I found them to be just a wonderful, amazing group. of beings.
And then, so you guys can ask if you have questions for Ruth, feel free to ask her anything. And we'll let you know. Otherwise, David is also one of my really good friends, and we'll get his YouTube channel up as well. David, do you want to explain a bit more about what it is you do? And David's kind of on the other side of things. Not that we're all not connected, because we are, but David deals with implants and channeling and other types on a different spectrum. So you want to talk about that?
So as far as like stuff goes, it seems like we're doing the same things essentially. You really dial into the mediumship layer. I've done some mediumship. I've been asked to channel some people that have been scientists from Area 51 just to get some information out.
How awesome.
Which is pretty cool. But I'm a channeler, I'm an energy healer, and I more go to the galactic perspective or vibrational wavelength, if you want to call it that way. Because like for me, for talking to deceased humans, it's kind of like sometimes they lie to you, sometimes
it's just like life.
Yeah, they have their tricks, right, and their agendas, and I know every being does, but I find they have more tricks. So I find that non-terrestrials are a bit more honest. They have a bit more integrity. So I usually communicate on that layer for the most part. But yeah, I do Akashic Records readings and DNA infusions with my crew, which I talk to telepathically usually. So yeah.
Very cool. So I don't feel like I have to talk about me, because you guys that are listening probably know about me. No, that is not it. Patrick's chiming in from the other room. No, that is not it. But I feel like when it comes down to saying, can you be quiet, please? When it comes down to like saying specifics of what we do, I'm never really good at that, because I'm not really, and I'm not really sure why I'm not good at that, but I feel like it's different every day for me. So like there's certain things that I do, like I love to automatic write. I love to do light language activations, to talk with various galactic groups and stuff, but it kind of varies on a day-to-day basis. And I don't know, if you've been following my channel, I guess you kind of know a bit about the story and kind of where I went and now where I am and stuff like that. So I have a whole bunch of oracle cards here for tonight. If you guys have questions, we can pull oracle cards too. Light language activation downloads. Actually, David and Ruth both speak light language, even though I don't think anyone mentioned that.
That's true.
I was going to say, if it's okay with you, I'll tell people what I think you are, and I'll be nice about it.
Yes, please do.
So, yeah. So, and you know, David could probably add to this as well. But for me, you're my go-to galactic person, also timeline and dimensional person, historian, so intuitive historian. And when I'm doing a reading for someone, and by the way, I know it's like a little off topic, but I totally agree with you, David. So yes, the dead are just like the living, but and they lie, just like they did in life. But you know, it does hopefully bring their family members some peace, and that's really what I'm going for. But as for my own learning, I would go to you guys, you know, for more information and kind of more enlightenment and more lessons. But look, you, Alicia, are my tarot person, my past life person, all the light language, you know, when that starts coming out like some kind of, you know, it sounds like some gang talk. I know you'll be able to decipher it, you know, or whatever it is.
Don't forget, you were the first one who, when you had, remember I had, before I knew you, I had won that free reading from you. And you were like,
you did a fundraiser, right? You and Patrick, that's how I met you.
Yeah, that's how, and then you were like, they're telling me that you speak some sort of galactic languages. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I had some made up language when I was little. And you're like, that's it. And you need to start talking it again. So you're the reason why I'm speaking it. So again, so.
And that was like 8 years ago.
That was a long time.
And it went by in a blink. So
Very long time ago.
Now, I know Temple as kind of an alchemist, actually. She's always making potions and poultices and lip balms and things like that. She does, like, she's really good clairaudient and clairvoyant as well. I know her from the timeline stuff too. And she's really in the galactic range, which is cool. So,
and we had some stints together in the Super Soldier program.
Yeah.
And it's always what things, well, there's a lot I like about David too, but it's nice when you can have someone to tell your, not just so everybody, I'm not in the program anymore, but when I was in the program, we would wake up and we would send each other messages saying, do you know what happened last night? Or do you, like, this is what happened? And then I could jump in and I could view it from what he was saying, or he could jump in and view it from what I was saying. And then I have another friend who is actually here watching, who is also in the Super Soldier program. And then when she chimes in, and we can always put things together as to what happened that night, even though, like, you could be the one crashing the ship, and then, like, she could be the one who's like trying to clear the people away from, like, the crash. It's really been interesting. So
it's like one person can tell 1/3 of the story, and the other person can tell another part that they seen the other part taking part, but from a different perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So why don't we start with, and Ruth, if you don't want to speak light language tonight, you don't have to. I won't make you speak like going.
I might. Never know. Never know. Sometimes it just takes over me. I get the fever, so you never know. Okay. Which happened, I told you, it happened in the kitchen, the other day after a year or something. So, but my kids, they're just like, okay,
they're practicing.
They don't listen to me anyway, so it's fine. They don't even notice.
So let's do some blessings, and then if you guys have questions, we can get into questions. And there's a few in the room who have joined us, so we'd love to hear from you guys too. Use the chat. For those of you guys who joined the room, just use the chat and let us know if you guys want to talk or have questions. And then I can call on you, because I'm still trying to figure out how this whole Zoom thing works. So, all right. So I want to have, are you seriously just calling me right now on Instant Messenger? Oh, that's the other Ruth. That's a different Ruth. Okay. Hang on just 1 second. Okay, so blessings. I'm going to do a blessing, and then maybe David and Ruth can do blessings, and then we'll start.
The option is there if you'd like to have it translated as well, and I can do my interpretation of it if you like.
Oh yeah, that's true. If you guys want them translated, you can ask, and David can do his interpretation of them. David and I did that for a while, and I was getting really confident in that, and then life happens, and we haven't done it in a while, and so I'm not as confident as I was.
You can do it perfectly.
Okay. Wushata sunulia kota kalahasa. Punujatiata sanaata kuputiana laata. Pusunutiata kashnia nanayapa. Pusunutiana kanayatana. Masaatu upashanatia kopashana asa. Lahana maka tu umapula. Tunujukata niazanata bushanayata. Ahala. Namaste.
So did everyone just freeze, or is that just my internet?
I don't know. I think Ruth froze too. Nope, she's here. Okay.
Okay, so I only got part of it. I only got part of it because everyone like froze completely for me. But what I got was break away from what it is that does not serve you. This is only an understanding of that which one does not see truthfully yet. But this turmoil which is within you can be soothed and smoothed out as it faces, and then you kind of cut out.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Wow.
Who wants to go next?
I can't add to that. I think that's perfect.
Okay, I'll just say something quick.
Okay.
Duyushukuna esk e na uete manuakas ea sa unete Mauku ekaune sevrakune shak ewa. Mantuku e shak ina naya ansuruke. Fear not, for it is light and good intent that we are here. We speak to you from many directions at the same time. And in this connection, you will feel within your heart. Know that through this heartfelt connection that you are experiencing, you will find much truth and love. And this love will be shared with others within this unit of the room they're referring to. So find this truth within yourself. May it resonate within your heart so that you can move forward in a proper direction which serves your best good.
Thank you. Hey, Ruth? Yeah? No?
Yes, I'm having an issue here. I'm so sorry. I don't know. All of a sudden, the camera's still on. Do you see me?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. So I don't see you guys anymore, and I can't bring it back to the original screen. The original Zoom message, join meetings, put in your passcode just came up. So, and I can't seem to get back to where you guys are, but I didn't even touch it. So,
Technology isn't my thing either, so it's fine.
So what do I do?
What do you mean? What do you do?
How do you get back in? Try minimizing, and the screen might be under the screen that just popped up.
Also, we're recording now.
Yeah, I think we might have not got the first chunk of Ruth's bio or my bio, but that's okay.
Oh, did you start recording? Okay. No, we can still see you, and you just can't see us.
I see you now. I see you now. I don't know what happened there, but maybe it was Bruce.
Perfect. Lonnie and Val, do you guys want to tell us your stories at all? Or feel free to just unmute and talk if that is the case. Everybody, I can't.
I'm trying to unmute.
Oh, it's Val. Okay.
I don't really have a story. What brought me to your channel, Temple Beautiful, was I got into tarot card readings a lot and had a couple of heartbreaks over the past 4 years. So that's what led me to this, and thinking that there had to be something else out there than just the mundane life of going to work every day. And I just feel like I need to find my purpose in life.
I know exactly how you feel. I think about that often when, like, I think about my own life as far as it's pretty much like work, dinner, a little bit of TV, and bedtime. And like most people just repeat that over and over and over. And I know we keep thinking there's got to be more. It's got to be more, but most people are so exhausted that, so I hear you. I'm glad that you're here. Is there, I guess, Ruth, if anything comes through for anybody, you just want to say stuff, or do you want people to ask questions, or how would you prefer?
Yeah, I mean, I'll certainly answer any questions that anybody has. I have a question for you guys if there's no other questions right now, because I'm just curious. So for you or David, or really anybody, if the other people in the room speak light language, I know how you started, Alicia. David, how did you start, and have you ever questioned it? Because I know for myself, all this gibberish that came out, I grew up with a father who had many faces of religion and church topped and all of this stuff. And so I grew up hearing speaking in tongues. And so when I first started doing this other creepy thing, because it was at the time kind of creepy, like, what the heck is coming out of my mouth? It reminded me of speaking in tongues. And to this day, my light language is very quick, very choppy, very like a Swahili type of language. It's not slow and beautiful like yours. So many times I've wondered, is this real? Or is this just, like maybe a venting of, you know what I mean? Kind of like giving off some extra.
I told you what your light language was once. Didn't I tell you?
Well, you did, but it's changed a little bit since then. And I don't remember what is it?
You have to speak it. I don't remember. This has been, like, we talk once a year.
We don't talk about that a lot. But David, how did you come to do it, and have you ever questioned it?
So I have questioned it several times because I was like, maybe I am crazy. And maybe I'm just making this up because my life's not exciting enough. So my subconscious is creating something like this to keep me exciting and maybe make my regular life more exciting, right? But actually, I was actually watching James Charles's Hucklow channeling every Saturday. I was really just intrigued by that. I wasn't channeling, I wasn't speaking light language. My telepathy wasn't really running or anything like that. And I took part in a Hucklow practice channeling group. And someone asked me one day, "Hey, Dave, it's your turn to channel." And I didn't know what I was doing at all. And then I just started channeling. So I have channeled intermittently in my regular everyday life and not known that I was channeling. But I'd have like blips where I don't have any memory of what I was saying. And that's when I was kind of like in the kitchen making a sandwich, as we say, like when we're in like a trance state, because you're not actually there. It's just someone is speaking through you. So for me, it all started in Mexico. One night, my friend and I were smoking some marijuana and some electric lettuce, forgive me, for the younger ears in the audience. And I had the intention of being just totally open. I was like, okay, I'm totally free. I'm in Mexico. The Day of the Dead is actually happening in the next couple of days. And I didn't care about any of this stuff or know about any of this stuff at all. And so we had a little puff, and I seen a portal open up in the hotel room that we were at. And I was like, what is that? And I thought maybe I was, it was drugs. But anyway, my friend was like, "Dave, you're freaking out a little bit. Maybe you want to get some air on the step." And because I was seeing things coming through this portal. And I had these inner knowings like, oh, the reason why I don't walk in front of a group of people, like if there's like 3 people in a group, I'll walk behind them always. I'll never walk in the front. It's because I'm not ready to lead yet. Now that was like an inner knowing that I had, which was like life-changing almost. Now for me, I had a lot of these moments in like a sequence, and my friend he's very strong empath as well. And he was starting to feel me like fill up with goosebumps after I would get confirmation on these messages. And he's like, "Well, it's time for buffet. We should go get a buffet." So we went down for a Japanese night, and it was like pitch black. And we had this portable radio, which was like pretty advanced for the time because they didn't have wires or anything. Anyway, it's pitch black. There's this guy in a golf cart, and I can see this red blob around his body. And it's coming closer to us. And he comes up to us and he says, "Hey guys, do you want to drive?" And we were like, "No, we're good. We're just walking. We're just hanging out, walking." He's like, "Okay." So he goes around. Not even 3 minutes later, he asks us the same question again. "Do you guys want to drive?" And we were just playing our radio, and we're like, "No, we're good." So we walk up. Maybe 5 minutes later, we see him again at the end of this long pathway that we're going on to go to the buffet. And he and his friend jump out of the golf cart, and he walks over to us. And I look at my friend and I say, "Don't give him the radio." And he's like, "Hey, can I see your radio?" And he goes to reach for my friend's radio. And I just knew that he wanted to steal it. And my friend didn't give it to him. And I looked at him in the eyes and I said, "We're really fast runners." And he ran off, and his friend took off with the golf cart. Yeah. And that was my first like full-blown psychic experience. So
okay,
super interesting. What about didn't Ruth actually ask when you started speaking light language?
Yeah, she probably did. I kind of went on a tangent.
No, like usually, one or the other starts first. So for me, it wasn't light language. It was like, other things. And then light language showed up later when I was, just as I was convinced that I was super crazy. And that was like the icing on the cake.
Yeah, I started channeling, and then I started speaking light language, and then I started to translate the vocal light language, and then I started to translate written light language.
Had you heard light language before? You were aware of what it was?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so you knew what was happening. Like you had a sense that this was coming and had kind of researched it or heard it or said, you know, maybe I could try this.
Yeah, and I never made the connection that it was the same as speaking in tongues. I never had that previous
I
connection.
know that it is. It just kind of, it was reminiscent to me. It was the closest thing when, you know, the conscious mind tries to, what is this? You know, we think, is it Aramaic? Is it tongues? Or tongues is supposedly Aramaic, maybe, I don't know. Is it gibberish or, you know, whatever.
So from what I've learned about tongues is that when people totally open up, they say, you know, open your heart to Jesus or whatever is the case in the church. People's chakras all open up. That actually can happen. And when people do this, this is how I ramp up. I put my hands together in front of my heart. It centers my energy, and then I can do stuff. But when people are speaking tongues, what happens is they open up their chakras, and sometimes they start, you know, spasming, and then they speak in tongues, right? From what my team told me is that when that happens, there's two souls fighting over one body. Because when people open up, then there's things that want to get in. If they're not protected and they don't have any grounding, they don't have any ground rules that say only things that serve my highest good can come through, they become susceptible.
I see.
I was going to say, we have our first question. So I don't know how you guys want to, if you want to do this. Lisa's Life was saying, and she's on YouTube, she was saying that she keeps losing time, and she was wondering if anybody has any sense of why this must be. And she says she knows it's not dementia. So Ruth, do you want to go first, or you want David to go first?
I mean, my answer is going to be kind of short, and my answer would probably be, you need to call David. But honestly, if I had a client, to be honest, I mean, I always try to keep it in the, if I don't really understand, I'll help the client find somebody who can help them. And if they don't, you know, I don't know someone, I'll research and vet that person myself. I won't just turn them over to the internet and, hey, go find somebody. But if I had a client that came and said they were losing time, my question would be, do you mean that you're waking up, not knowing where you were? How much time? Do you have any other physical things going on? Not to say that this is a physical illness that you have, but do you have any sensation? Has anything else changed? Do you feel like you have had contact with a deceased loved one, or that there's some other entity in the home? And if those are all no, or if it's big chunks of time, especially, then I would definitely seek out someone like you or David, and you know, I'd have to send that person to one of you guys, because I wouldn't know how to address that with them.
David,
Sure.
do you have anything you want to add to that, or?
Sure. From my experience, whenever someone has missing time, it's because the soul is not in the body at that time. So when you black out from drinking too much, your body is not able to properly connect with the soul. And so it takes a little break, and then whatever comes forward to make your party animal person come forward, that's kind of what happens. Now, people that have blackouts that aren't drinking, that aren't altered in any way, shape, or form, maybe because they're having non-terrestrial experiences, and it may be because of events of time dilation. So there's several things that can happen, and there's several reasons for that, why they may be having missing time. So,
okay, and then I'm gonna add in there that when I experience missing time, usually it means that for whatever reason I was pulled out of body. My not my soul, because your soul has to stay in the body, otherwise you tip over, but my spirit or my energy was Ruth's laughing, so I'm laughing, was pulled out. And when this happens to me, it happens for reasons of needing to be more more of myself put together in other realms, whether I'm attending a galactic meeting or whatever's going on. I'm not needed as much here in this 3D now as I am somewhere else. And so sometimes I'll get pulled out, and then I'll still be working, like if I'm doing shipping or whatever, I'll still be working. But then when I actually get back in my body, it's a lot harder to function when you're out of it. And then you look at the clock and you're like, whoa, where did all this time go? And that's why. So that's my experience with it. She said that, oh, go ahead, Ruth.
No, that's what my question was, because I saw a little blurb that she said no changes, just, and then I couldn't read the rest.
Oh, so she said no changes, just look at the clock and hours may have passed, not every day.
Or it could be Netflix.
Netflix.
Just kidding.
Well done, David. Well done. Okay, so we have a lot of really awesome people here. Thank you guys for joining. We're just getting started. Tara Tees wants to know if does anyone know anybody that speaks the old dragon language?
Which one?
Well, any of the old dragon languages. I see. Here's the thing. I think most people, I don't think a lot of people are at that point yet where they're going to pick out specific lineages of old dragon language. Like for most people, it's just the old dragon language. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I could probably speak some reptilian language if you want, but some people are frightened by it.
Well, reptilian and dragon, I mean, they're connected, but I think she actually means dragon versus like reptilian.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think if I know anyone who speaks it. Sal speaks it.
Sal Moore?
Yeah.
Yes, she does. I can say something if you want. Uashana utea, aunea shanke, aundua shekina, anusake, akue.
Yeah, that was dragon. That was great. Thank you, David. Does anybody else have any questions? We have, let's see, Olivia joined us. Go ahead. Yeah.
Hang on one second. So I just want to go back to, was it Lisa that had the question about the missing time?
Yeah.
What I would say, in as far as her actually figuring out what it is do an automatic writing, light a candle, and just ask your guides, where am I going? What's going on here? And then I think that would give her some direction. And then also I would say, if you don't want that to happen, we have free will. So then the next thing is to determine, do an automatic writing and find out, where am I going? Why am I going? Who am I going with? And then if you don't want to do it, I don't want to go. No, thank you. But that way she would have a starting point to investigate it further, and then, maybe contact one of you from then on. So that would give her, automatic writing to me is always a go-to when you don't know what's going on.
And a pendulum is a very powerful tool. If you have a proper graph, for example, you can write down what the possibilities might be as to where you go. If you want to write that down in if you imagine it as a sun, and each line represents something that the pendulum has the option to point to.
Yeah, excellent. Does anybody else have any questions? Olivia said that as far as leaving the body and time missing, she said that she heard that it could be other versions of yourself coming back to us, or timelines that are collapsing on each other. Any input on this? Do you want me to read again? It's in the chat.
Temple, whenever I click on the link, I can't actually add my YouTube stuff because...
Oh, send it here and I'll add it for you. I'm not sure why it wouldn't let you do that, but I know we've run into that before. And so Lisa says, thank you so much. I'll try your suggestions. Tara Tees says she's not sure which one it was. She started speaking dragon last year when she was on the table having an energetic healing, and it started pouring out of her. She doesn't quite understand it yet, but she said thank you to David.
Cool. There's a bunch of different dialects. If you don't sound exactly the same, that's totally fine. There's thousands and thousands of different dialects that are draconian, so I wouldn't worry too much about that.
Safira, do you want to unmute yourself? Safira's got a question. Hopefully you can unmute yourself.
I do. First of all, hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, David. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, hey?
Good to see you. Hello, Ian. Hello, Ruth.
Hi.
In my daily life, I go by Ruth, and my spiritual name is Safira. So you see Safira on the screen. Yeah, thank you. So I have a comment, if I might, about speaking in tongues, because I used to go to a lot of prayer meetings when I was young, in some very fiery, born again kind of atmosphere. And we would be in all night prayer meetings and things like that. And I would hear people speaking in different languages. And at the time, I was kind of given the gift of, or I had the gift, and it was sort of confirmed about interpreting tongues. So I would be in the prayer meeting and I would get this like bubbling in my stomach and I would hear speak and I'm like, oh no. No, because you won't believe it, I was so shy. I was the shyest person in the world. And so for me to speak in front of a group especially it's still difficult actually, but at that time especially. So I still would say it was light language. And just at that time, nobody really explained where the tongues were coming from, whether they were coming from angels or no, because in typical Christianity, you basically just have angels. They don't talk about spirit guides or, that kind of a thing. But yeah, and so I've also done channeling, and I have channeled the name escapes me right now. Temple General Morgan. So David, I channeled him for you guys. General Morgan.
I don't know what species he is, though.
Yeah, it's a Naga. Thank you. Yeah. Naga. And I don't know if Nagas are dragons, a derivative of dragons.
They're a serpentine.
Serpent, yeah. So maybe they're connected. But anyway, so I just wanted to share that. But I also have a personal question, which doesn't have to be answered now, but it's about an upcoming trip to Arizona to see my daughter over the holidays. So it's sort of like a kind of a reading, kind of intuitive thing. But if it's not the right time, I can wait.
No, that's fine.
So should I explain a little more or no?
You can if you like. I don't know. It seems like discord, or I don't know if it's the trip that's causing discord, or there's been discord. It seems like two people that haven't spoken in a long time are going to be speaking again for the first time in a while. I don't want to use the word setup, but it seems like you might find yourself in the company of someone that you wouldn't choose on your own to share space with. Does any of that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No.
That seems like it will be. So I have a deck here, even though I don't use cards. I use them kind of as a guide. But as you were speaking, I did a card. I'm using the Fallen Angel deck, which is one that I really love. And this is the Illusion card. So that's kind of what made me feel like this person is going to have this great idea to put you together with someone else. And you're going to be like, fantastic. Couldn't wait to see it. And really, it's going to be all kind of BS. Like you don't seem to want to be in the company of this person. However, in this particular case, cooler heads prevail, and you will gain some enlightenment, for yourself through that interaction. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
It's possible.
It'll be a bit of a healing.
Yeah, that would be good. It would be sort of a liberation. The other question I had connected to it was, if I may ask,
sure.
I have until tomorrow night, because Arizona is on the quarantine list. I'm living in Rochester, New York, and we have to quarantine for 2 weeks. And also Southwest Airlines has eliminated their social distancing on their flights. So as of December 1st, everybody's going to be squished together again. So New York is very strict about their quarantine rules, and it doesn't matter what I believe or don't believe about the virus, real, not real, all that stuff. The fact is, you got to sign a paper, you got to have your address, where you're going, where you're coming. And I'm living with 2 older people. So I'm up in the air. And one reason I'm up in the air about whether I should cancel or not, because they're giving us a chance for the people who do not want to sit squished next to so close to people during their flight. They're giving a refund, which they never give. They always just put your money in credit. I'm like, okay, should I get the refund and not go? But you also said that if I would be there, there would be some like a reconciliation, because there's a very intense situation in the family. I don't really want to see these people, or nothing to do with that really. But another sister is trying to get us together. It's sort of exactly what you were explaining. So, but I mean, I could also have this happen in March. I can also go later and the same thing could happen. So I'm just trying to, not for you to make a decision for me. That's not what
No, I understand. So now here's my legal disclaimer, we should have printed it up in the beginning, don't sue me, don't, all of that stuff.
It's okay. I
What's
get it.
real, Alicia? Like, it's not medical, it's not legal.
We'll just say this is all for entertainment purposes.
Right, that's what you have to say.
Right.
I'll tell you something. Again, you said it perfectly. No matter what you think or feel or whatever, your own opinion aside, because I have strong opinions as well about all of that. But that doesn't come into play here. I'll just tell you the feeling that I get is, and this is going to start some stuff with some other people who I've told not to travel. But in this case, if you choose to do it, I think you'll be fine. I don't think it would cause any problem for you health-wise or jeopardize any other people. And that's a very bold statement, because that actually goes against what I personally feel. But again, this stuff has nothing to do with what I personally feel. I think it would be fine.
Okay.
And I think that your meeting that I think you're being told isn't even going to happen, it's going to be sprung upon you, it's going to be really worth it for you. I think it's time.
I see.
And not to even connect with the other person, just to kind of allow you to free up some disk space for yourself and clear your head, and so you can move on to other.
It's heavy, and it's a family thing. It shouldn't exist, but it does, and I can never figure out the reason for it. So it's even more.
Family things are tough. That's why,
I know. And it feels
no matter how intuitive you are, the gift is not for you, right? Our gift is always to help other people. If we knew what was coming for us, because I always say to my guides, like, 2 bad marriages, like, job, like you couldn't, no warning, nothing. You see me heading for a wall? No, because the gift isn't for us. It's really to help other people. And so as you start to accept that, then almost the reward is then you start to kind of get to use a little more of it for your own, your own good. But if you knew what was coming for you, you wouldn't live your life. You'd sit there and not let anything happen. But the soul's here to learn. So we have to get out of the house. And a lot of times they're not going to tell us. We have to go to other people like us to get a little bit of a little bit of.
All right. And I have another question for you, Ruth. Not right now, but are you able to channel people on the 4th dimension?
On the 4th dimension?
From the 4th dimension.
Okay, I have to be honest with you, and this is the part where people are going to be like, I knew she was a Miss Cleo. Okay, well, I have to tell you, as amazing as my team that comes in and does this great work through me, a question like that's where I call Alicia and say, what's the 4th dimension? What's the time? What do you mean? And she's like, So Alicia, speak up.
Okay, I asked Alicia this already, and she said you can ask Ruth.
Yeah, probably, sure, why not? I mean,
we're up to this, knowing that Ruth is like.
I have to let me just make sure to get people's. No, I don't want to remove that.
We can come back to that if there's other questions.
Okay, well, what can I say? Oh, the only thing I can say about that is that when I had her channel for me and she didn't know anything that was going on. I didn't know that she was going to be able to have the people there, or like the galactic people that came in. So I think like it probably would happen just fine. And if it didn't, she would just be honest and be like, let's
Okay.
Yeah, I try not to get involved as far as I do better, you know, when I just let it come out and I say, I have no idea what this
Okay.
means. Because, you know, the less involved I am. And in terms, sometimes I can ask the question, where did it come from? But sometimes it's almost not my business. I just have to give it to you. And you know, sometimes you would even need clarity on the information that I give you, but at least you have it to take to someone who's more well-versed in that field, or, you know, and you know, that group of beings, whatever the case may be.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have some other questions. We have a couple questions from Val, and we have a question from, is it Devon? I might be pronouncing that wrong. Devon wants to know if there was any information about their spirit guides or any of the benevolent beings that are supporting them at this time. It's Devon C.
So when you were speaking, and as you said the name Devon, I hear the name Nevin, and or Naveen. Now I feel like that maybe the Devon or Devon, I'm sorry, can maybe type a message. I can't see any of the messages right now.
Yeah.
But for example, my spirit guide is Bruce. And for several years before I realized I was introduced to Bruce by another medium, actually, I would call and like order a pizza and say that it's for Ruth, and they would say Bruce, and I'm like, wow, do I sound that manly? You know, so the name Bruce was coming through all the time. You know, the realtor's name was Bruce. That every Bruce. So can you ask, can you answer, Devin or Devon, the name Nevin or Naveen?
I'll try and do the best I can. It's Devin. I'm gonna do it again. Devin, that rhymes with who True Ruth said. Nevin. Devin. So maybe it's Devin Nevin. So it rhymes. So that's, yeah. So you're correct in that. But
oh, so the name Nevin is.
I'm pronouncing the name wrong. Is what they're doing. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you're pronouncing the name wrong. But so, okay. So do people sometimes say call you Nevin by accident? Is this a name that is popping up in your world, the name Nevin or Naveen?
So I think they might have been doing that just to tell you that it rhymes with Nevin, so we can get it, Naveen, get it right.
No, I understand that. That's the name that I get. And I feel, again, that automatic writing when you're trying to meet your guides is a great tool. So again, you know, there's a whole very simple process. Light a candle, sit down in a quiet room, get your paper, get your pen, still your mind, and start writing. Stay out of it. Just almost like a stream of consciousness, but make it unconscious, and whatever you get. But do a little prayer and ask, you know, I'd like to be introduced to my spirit guides. And I do feel like that is, oh no, the phone talks. I'm at my mother's. My kids aren't here, and now it's going to talk. So let's see if it's Nevin. So anyway, focus on that name. Write the name down. See what you get.
So he said no, he's never heard of it. Are there any other spirit guides that are supporting him? If you get any other names, maybe?
I don't. Oh, please.
I'd just like to add something. As far as that, who are my spirit guides? Always ask, as long as that serves my highest good. So you always want to set parameters for protection for yourself, because if you don't set any parameters, then any being can come through and just start talking to you, or coming through automatic writing. So always set the intent before you begin doing automatic writing, using a pendulum or communicating with spirit in any way, shape, or form, that you set your parameters that only beings that serve my highest good can come through to communicate with me.
And that's a daily practice. That should be not something that you just do once. That's something that I take for granted often, you know, that people do that, but you know, it escapes me sometimes that that's something that needs to be mentioned and redone.
Okay. So it's always hard like that for me. It's always better when I'm hearing voices or seeing somebody. That's how I can attach into the energy. So when you have questions from YouTube, I personally find it a little bit harder to attach to the energy to get the answer. Not saying it can't be done, but let's take another one from YouTube, and then we have some from the Zoom chat. So Val has a question. She says, Ruth connects with deceased souls, correct? If so, are there any messages from her from past family members?
I don't think so. I know that's not the answer that you want to get right at this moment, but let's come back. Not right now, not standing here at this moment.
She also has, is there anybody standing there at this moment that you want to?
There's a message for her, but it's from a channeled source.
Well, is it okay? Can we hear it, or is it private, David?
I have to ask. It's a little bit private. It's up to you, Val.
Let's see what Val says.
It's not super detailed private like that, but there's a being that wants to speak through me to talk to you. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Just going to take me a sec. Oh, yes, this is true. I know that there's a lot that you're going through right now. It's very difficult to be going through such things. It seems like everything around you seems to be covering you. And when this happens, it can cause turmoil within. So when you're facing the darkest times, it's so important to be able to find that bright light through the clouds. Now, this light we're talking about is one that can help you to find this path that you're searching for. This path that you're searching for may seem unattainable because of things that you've heard, because of things that other people have done. But just know that you can attain it. You just need to start walking on this path. And once you begin, you'll notice that each step that you take becomes easier and easier. So start walking.
She also, I don't know if that being is still there or wanted, but she also had questions for both of you. If you could, anybody had any insight on her love life and her life's purpose?
Well, I don't know if this is going to tie into the love life, but there's almost as David was speaking, where initially it didn't appear that there was anybody standing here. There seems to be somebody who's either in what I call the green room, which is kind of like a common like mediumship type of term, where they're waiting to pass. They kind of jump into the green room, try it out. Like maybe tonight's the night, maybe it's next month. They could be in there my father was in there for 3 years before he passed. Or they have just passed, and that's a male. Now, I don't know if this is two different males or if it's one and the same. And one male had a stroke, like the whole right side is affected. And also a male with stomach cancer. So I don't know if any of this makes sense to you, but there's going to be a male afflicted with these things. Well, not anymore on the other side, as we know, but he's going to be coming to speak to you. I feel like it's not going to be until after that connection is made, because some kind of healing has to happen with this person. After that, you'll be able to release some of the heartache. It almost feels like this is not the time. It's like the want is there, the desire for the closeness, almost like I need a hug kind of feeling, versus it being really the right time to get into a new relationship. Does any of that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Val, when I connect to your energy, I can just get a rush of emotions. I almost want to start bawling, to be honest, because I I can really feel there's so much in there. And I think it would really benefit you to be able to talk with this stuff with somebody. Because if you don't get it out, then it festers energetically. Okay.
And also, if I could add one thing, it feels like a lot more clearing, a lot more, even just wash your hands with just sea salt, just a lot more clear. The way everybody does it differently. My quick go-to is just clear me, body, mind, and soul 3 times. That seems to help me. Even my kids, when they get surly, I'll smudge them. Make sure you open the window, otherwise it's going to float around in your house. So, whatever your clearing is, or to just say a prayer, or light a candle, or whatever it is. But a lot more clearing right now, because it seems like the repetitive thoughts, like you'll shake it for, initially, and then you're good for an hour, and then it comes back. So, you need to do this process of, as it comes in, let it out. As it comes in, let it out. And instead of maybe a romantic relationship, you seem to have a male that would be a good, solid friend. Really focus on that. 2021 isn't going to be the time for, romance. It's going to be the time for you.
Ruth, as you were saying that, I was shuffling the relationship deck, and as you were talking about the friend, it says calling in your soulmate with prayers, affirmations, visualizations. I do have some light language coming through for you. And so maybe this can help with some of the start of the removal, or just help calm or send love. So I'll just, if you're okay with that, I'll do it. Are you okay with that, Beth? Okay. Niasa tiako patia sononalia to kubarjikato naya tonia collision tia kanata. Puya to tukia tia takania tia takia totia ne le ko totia ko totia pon ko tia takia tia tata na tia to tenia tia tatia to sono totia ko totia popayata na sa te le ko piata takia tia ko katia na tia ta sakia to tona shin tia ta hana sala kyo puchu shashane tita tutu Dios sa hana hala kukaya kakiata tatia na tatia tatia kuno tatia tatia tata ka atata nas tatia tu kupane je tu papiata la asa tatia kuno tatia tatia sa whoosh. Tiata shinatiata kuniata tiata kunpia pavjino da tapia kota tiata taniata kota tiata taneta kota tiata kanatia sukunenya tatakio totiata na sakatiata ta ana kota toya bosa tiash kunoto bushk tiata tata kan kota di bash kota tiata kota kanatia sukuto totila pona yatosh kota tiana ha salatiata na sana ha satiata kupiana jon te kotia po na jon te ko piata zona tiata chkniata to nasia te tiata tiata kuto ya kuto tiata sana ta kuto to pati kana tiata sana hala hua tia sa kuto makatia to kom patiata ska hua ta sana wa shatia po hosha hanasa nasia lata. Namaste.
That was a beautiful long light code. That's what that was. So these light codes, they're like packets of energy. And these packets of energy, your subconscious, your soul, and your guides, they can integrate these energy, and it changes things in your life. So the first thing that I heard was let go of this anchor. and then the light code came, and then after that I heard, just let the anchor fall into the water. You don't need to take the anchor with you while you're in the boat. And then there was some more nice stuff, but I kind of lost track of that.
I actually got a visual as you were doing it, Alicia, of it almost looked to me like galactic angels, if there are galactic angels, but they came in almost like my team described them to me almost as like surgeons, you know, sort of like galactic surgeons. And they were wrapping you in green and like peach, like this lighter color green, almost like it looked like a silk around and around. It was going counterclockwise, which to us is unraveling. So it's getting rid of all of this stuff and around your body. And it was like sinking in to, you know, like it all around you, and it was sinking in and just layer on layer. And when I asked what it was like described as repairing the fiber of the soul. So it was really beautiful.
That's exactly what I was seeing. That's exactly what I was feeling and what I was seeing. So that's amazing that you were.
And it was so strong. Like I actually felt my body like going with the same.
So
were you able to feel that?
I was getting goosebumps a little bit.
Good.
Thank you, guys.
You're very welcome. Let's see, Carol, who, I don't know if you want to try and unmute yourself. I'm going to ask you to unmute and see if that works. I'm going to ask to unmute.
How's that?
Yeah, we can hear you. You have a question?
I do. I want to know if my toxic neighbor, whom I have waited out for years, and I just finally gave up. I just get such bad vibes when I go past him. I'm just wondering if he's actually dangerous.
No, he's crazy.
Oh, yes, I just heard.
You know, there's crazy, dangerous, and crazy. You know, he wants you to think he's dangerous. Sort of like the vibe that I get is just it's just a broken person. Just like that's the kid that got picked on in school that everybody like couldn't stand, and he's just a broken person, and it's like an adult version of bullying gone out of control. He's not dangerous.
So it's not that I have to worry that if his favorite, you know, if his candidate loses the election on Tuesday, I don't have to worry about him taking out a gun and going, you know, starting to take pot shots at cars or anything like that.
No, I mean, that's not what I see. It's not the energy. I think that it doesn't seem like it would be an outward attack. I mean, he seems like a person that would kill himself over the wrong candidate, but not you. That's kind of the aura that he has. But again, you know, I mean, we're human, right? So again, free will comes into play, and something pisses us off, and you know, you can't say for sure. You know, you don't want to say, "Oh, some psychic on YouTube told me everything was fine," so don't go out there and dance on his lawn with the other, you know, the other candidate's sign. You know, you might not want to do that, but I mean, in terms of just what I get around your house. It's almost like he antagonizes you for sport. I don't know if that's what goes on, but that's kind of how it feels.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, we have Olivia, who's got a question. If you could unmute, Olivia.
Oh, I was just saying that I'm open to getting any messages from any of you that are bringing forth messages. If there's any for me at all. I'm open to any message.
I'm not getting too much from my side, to be honest.
I think that so it's not. I mean, it's not super personal, but is it okay if it's about your health? Do you mind?
Sure.
It seems like it's been. I don't know. There's a lot of doctors around, so I don't know if that is coming now, but you also seem a person who's super resistant. So it's like I see two things. I see a person who hasn't gone to the doctor in the longest time, and then kind of like now where there's all these doctors. So
I
I don't
see
know if
something to do with sexuality as well.
it's like
I just
lower.
had a hysterectomy 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, lower. Okay. So did you have a mass? Is that there was like a kind of a, I don't want to get into your business. I shouldn't have asked you that.
No.
But what I'm there's like a spot maybe like on the lower right, kind of in your stomach, that seemed like it was different.
Oh, I just had a hysterectomy because of heavy menstrual cycles, and after he did it, he said I had endometriosis. So, but I see a doctor every 3 months, so I see doctors all the time. But that's because I'm a diabetic, so I have to go in every 3 months just so I can get my insulin pump supplies. So I see a doctor every 3 months. I just find it annoying.
But that's for a different problem. I mean, for these types of things, had it been some time since you're kind of resistant to going in and getting any kind of treatment for this?
No,
or-
I've been bugging for years to get this done. So
I
it was
don't
the
know.
doctors that were resisting. Like they were the ones that were like, no, let's wait. And we did an ablation last year and that didn't work. And then I finally was like, can we finally do the hysterectomy? Like been asking and asking to get this done for years. So they finally did it.
It's the doctor that's trying to avoid you, so that message is off base there. I'm just kidding, but no, that's really the only thing. I mean, it doesn't seem to be any like problem attached to it. I mean, except that is not a great thing to go through. I hope your recovery is going well. But there's nothing specific, and I mean, I'm of the opinion that no news is good news. So, if you have any specific question, we could certainly answer that. But I mean, in terms of just general questions, it's not, it's always good when like your deceased loved ones aren't like sitting in a lawn chair staring at your life, waiting to, like, does she want to talk to us yet? Because, you want them to be busy on the other side, they're there to work and learn and do amazing things. And if they were standing there with a message, a lot of times they're troubled, and so that's not the case. They're having trouble crossing over, or they're still concerned about something, conflict in life. So not having a message is actually a good thing. But if you have any specific question, we can certainly ask.
Yeah, when I connected to your energy briefly there, I felt first that it was about sexuality and the body in that area. And then the next notion that came forward was the freeing up of sexuality in your life. And then this energy will allow you to not be self-conscious in that area, so that you can move forward with this part of your development.
Definitely. Are there any romance messages for me? I've been single for like 8 years.
That energy I can see on your path now.
Oh.
It's like it was blocked for a while, but now it's...
I've been doing a lot of work.
Okay,
yeah.
So now the path is open. So you will start manifesting that kind of stuff in your life now.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Olivia, I pulled a card for you.
Okay.
So the card that I got is, I pulled out of this Isis Oracle Egyptian deck.
Okay.
And it's called the Temple of Black Obsidian. And this one is called the Dark Healing Chamber. It says that the Temple of Black Obsidian is ruthlessly honest place of raw love and healing, truly profound and lasting. Deep relief and transformation can occur here. Black Obsidian is protective and revealing. It will prevent harm from external and internal forces, but it will also reveal that which has been lurking in the shadows of the self, trying to avoid being brought into the open for fear of condemnation. The biggest challenge we face entering the Temple of Black Obsidian is our own unwillingness to love and accept all parts of us. The initiate who is invited to enter this Temple of Black Obsidian enters into his or her own shadow. the part of us that is hidden from our awareness and is usually only experienced in relationship to others, quite often as a projection. Lady Isis is a dark priestess of the Temple of Black Obsidian and invites you now to confront your parts of your own ego that you have previously denied. Why? Because in doing so, you will gain more freedom and come to know yourself more wholly, and will find that life experiences, opportunities, and relationships and breakthroughs that you have not been able to reach will suddenly become available to you. I think this is what David's talking about, where you've already entered it and you're at the last end of it. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
you've already kind of gone through it. Okay, so you're just coming out of it. One cannot avoid the initiation of the Black Temple of Obsidian on the pathway to more light. Isis will assist you in preparing for this journey by encouraging you not to allow yourself to become your own worst enemy. Most of the fear that we have before the dark chamber of healing is the fear of our own self-criticism and rejection. Isis declares that readiness for the dark chamber requires willingness to exercise non-judgment, compassion, and readiness to accept the self in all expressions. To safely enter the chamber and be healed, you must be prepared to give yourself love unconditionally. You must be able to recognize judgments that you hold towards yourself, not as truths, but as old patterning. This is why successful initiation of the dark chamber is for truly advanced souls at the stage of soul development. The heart has become willing to love unconditionally, and the initiate must be able to witness feelings that arise with kindness and acceptance, but not fall into them, overwhelmed, crushed, or deflated by any darkness found within them. And this is worth the challenge, because finding peace from pain, self-criticism, self-doubt, fear, self-judgment through healing in this temple is a gift beyond measure. So I don't know if that resonates with you at all.
That's perfect, and that goes hand in hand with what I kept getting after I was connecting to you with Olivia. So this, I was kind of looking into a future timeline with you, and it has to do with how you're going to be hard on yourself in your future because you've had this hysterectomy, that you're going to have guys in your life that want to have children, but they can't, and then you're going to be hard on yourself because of that decision that you've made.
Well, I didn't want any more children, so I've definitely had guys reject me because my tubes were tied before the hysterectomy, so I couldn't have any more children. It's just too high risk for me because of my health. And so I definitely have already had guys who are like, oh, you can't have kids, so then I don't want, a relationship with you. And that's fine. They're just not the right person for me then, like the right person isn't gonna, use that against me. So, and that's okay. Some people, they still want children. I personally, aside from my health and now not being able to, like, to me, I'm almost 40, like, I don't want to have any more children. One, and I'm good with the one. I was never one of those girls who grew up and was like, oh, I can't wait to have kids. I was kind of like, no, I don't ever want to have kids.
I'm right there with you. I
actually got a little something. I'm sorry, Alicia. When David was speaking, that might clarify or might come up in the future. It almost seemed like you are totally fine with, your procedure and at peace with it. But it almost seems like maybe in the winter something's going to happen, hormone related. Where you'll almost regret. You'll go through maybe a dark night of the soul related to it, losing a part of yourself, and that's going to be unexpected to you because it feels to me now that you're like, this is fine. My life is better without this. Wasn't using it anyway. So, I don't need that part because I didn't mean it like that. I mean, it was causing you just to have, pain and it was like, a nightmare for you. So, however, I think as hormones change, you might go through something where, and it might even be you, not a guy, as Dave was saying, there might be some feelings attached to this that you would not have expected is going to pass. So try not to get too deep into it. And it's going to be cyclical with the seasons. And also the other thing I get for you is Metatron. So I don't know if you work with Metatron or you know much about Metatron, but that's an angel that you want to do some research on, do some reading about, and do some work with. That'll be useful.
That's cool, Olivia. That doesn't surprise me that Metatron would be one of your peeps or want to be working with you. Yeah.
I
So
do call them in sometimes, so.
and Ruth, when you were talking about like the Dark Night of the Soul thing, whatever you said before that, I totally got chills, which, as most of you know, is my confirmation for when we're talking about things and on my side. So yeah. Yes, yes. Any other things pop up, Olivia? Any other questions or?
Mm-mm.
No? All right. Okay, let's see. There was, oh, Saphira. We'll go with Saphira, right? Or did you already ask me that? I'm sorry. Let's see. I have to pay attention to my little sheet, otherwise I get lost. Okay. So, did you have another question, Saphira?
I do, if it's okay.
Yep. And then
Because maybe other people, I already asked one, and if other people are waiting, but okay. So I need some. I have to ask for some messages. Need some help right now with something I'm going through, which has to do with rejection and something being taken from me, purposely or not. I'm not quite sure, but it's so if there's anybody who has anything for me, that would be awesome.
So is this the issue around something having to do? It almost seems like you know, the word is on the tip of my tongue. Like when your parents die, they leave you like a family infighting over an estate, something like that. No, there's no issue in your family with anything like that.
No, it's not family, spiritually family oriented, but not family oriented.
No, this thing is definitely like an infighting over an estate and physical property.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So it doesn't necessarily mean, listen, one of the things that happens, and although I ask that
yeah,
everybody that isn't supposed to be here, just stay away. Just like David mentioned, you know, the dead are just like the living, you know. We're here talking, we're at the water cooler talking, somebody's got to just jump in like they're supposed to be in this conversation. Well, they're really not. So, you know, that's just not a message for you.
So, oh,
go ahead.
I
Sure.
just want to add something to that. I have attempted every possible perspective and knowing, you know, to deal with it, and does not go away. So I'm thinking, you know, this some kind of old wound or something with a specific person that's historical. They don't think it's historical. They can't feel it, but I do. So,
I mean, in terms of like a past life together.
Yeah, there's a certain animosity with somebody, and I feel like partly they're taking something away from me, taking people away from me, and whether they're doing that purposely or not, subconsciously, unconsciously, I don't know what the word. I feel like it's a very old thing with us, between us, and it's really painful. And I want to be all lovey-dovey, blah blah blah. You know, get over it. Da, 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 da. All I want to do is scream and yell at this person, and I know that's not going to work. So I'm trying to get past it, but I can't get past it. So I'm trying to figure out if someone can get some information about why it's happening, aside from just my own brain. Maybe that's all it is. I don't know.
No, I don't think it's in your head at all, if that's what you're asking.
Thank you.
But if it's something that you can't place in this life, I would say it's probably a past life event. And, you know, I personally do a leadership for all things past life. Aside from that, so hopefully still chime in here. Aside from that, I would love to know, YouTube or otherwise, who's the person that has the estate issue with the siblings? Ask us a question because somebody.
Well, that's interesting. So my brother just bought a property in Arizona, but I have nothing to do with it, so I don't know where I would come into play with that. I don't know. That's all.
No, this is like somebody. Maybe it's somebody that's watching, or maybe it's somebody that's just jumping in here, just trying to give me a hard time. Because that's what they do. But this is definitely always somebody that's like, it's like a group of siblings in the family, and the parents left an estate, and there's always like that one there's always like that one in the family that's just always got to be,
Yeah.
I need more than you, and money's always the thing that's a problem in the family. So that's what that message was about.
Mhm.
But in
Yeah.
terms of a past life event, I would ask Alicia.
Would ask me for past life stuff.
I always ask you for past life stuff.
I know. David, did you get anything? I see. I don't. I pulled a card though. I pulled a card, but I didn't want to answer anything about this because
Conflict of interest for you.
Yes, it's a conflict of interest for me.
Yeah.
But I did pull a card, and I think that so I understand in a really weird way. I understand the estate thing that you're talking about, and I may have to explain it later privately.
Okay.
But I kind of understand what you're talking about. So
all right, I'm glad that I just don't have to kick anybody out of here and light some sage right now and say, I asked you all. You're the only people that are invited.
You're fine.
I'm glad it's for you.
David, did you get anything, or do you want me to read the card? Or
mine's only real quick. From Saphira, when I was connecting to you, all I could see was you on a road trip. And it was like this big long drive that you were about to make. So
cool.
that just kept coming up.
That's cool.
I know it's not related to the emotional stuff.
Really interesting.
I love it.
This is interesting. So
thank you.
So Saphira, the card that came up for you was the Divine Guardian, protection of the winged mother. So it says you are venturing in through a time of significant spiritual growth and healing. There are many changes occurring internally, and they will be reflected in your external world soon. Also, I don't think that's grammatically correct. You are protected during these times by the love and strength of the winged mother, Lady Isis. You can relax and allow your transformation to happen. Let your divine guardian protect you now as you learn to let go and trust your own unfoldment of the greatest good. Big spiritual growth can bring difficult changes. Through such challenges, the initiate can gain wisdom, power, and awareness and leave behind fears that once held them captive. Free from past restrictions, free to live a life that is truly extraordinary and inspirational. Yet the challenges can feel deeply confronting. The initiate may be tested to stay true to their own beliefs, even if their loved ones do not understand or support them. They may be required to let go of what they have known to embrace. They may be required to let go of what they have known to embrace something completely unfamiliar. And this may be uncomfortable for them, and they may fear losing love, support, safety, or friendship as they venture into this new life. These kinds of spiritual growth opportunities are presented when the initiate is ready for them. Even though this readiness may not seem obvious, the oracle of the divine guardian arises because you, dear initiate of light, are venturing into a significant time in your spiritual path. There is a process cooking within you, which may be already mirrored in your outer life circumstances that are actually challenging you to grow. It might look like an opportunity or it might appear as a crisis, but no matter what the appearance, you are being guided to take the risks that intuitively feel right to you and have faith. You will be safely guided by unconditional love of the Lady Isis with wings outstretched and the sword of truth in hand, protected from false images that would lead you astray from your true path. This oracle is also a confirmation that you have been receiving impressions, and inner nudges that are from your highest guidance, which has been helping you with situations that are currently unfolding in your life and will also continue to do so. You are spiritually speaking on the right track, no matter whether your life circumstances appear to be heading in one direction at the moment and then in a completely different direction the next moment, or whether you feel things a certain way in truth only to find that the next day they seem to be different. These are all just signs of growth into new consciousness. Life does not have to be fixed or even clear at all times in order for you to be safe. The goddess Isis is with you and all is well. This oracle comes as guidance that if you have been worried about another, that they are protected. Whether this is someone alive at the time or a being that has departed in the physical world and returned to spirit, they are free from suffering, pain, trauma, and now all is well. If you wish to send a blessing to such a beloved, you can do so with an incantation below. So I think that's really on par with things that you're currently going through.
Yeah, that's a lot of information. It could go different ways, but yeah.
I can interpret it a little bit,
Yeah, please, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as Alicia was speaking, it seemed to me there were a couple things. One, it seems like you feel like you're going to be unhappy with me, but like you might be a lot like this person. Actually, not wicked, like you view them as wicked, but not like a wicked person. But you might be almost like too similar, and that's why you don't get along. It seems to me like the headbutting, you have to accept it and then let it go. Just accept that person is going to be like that and let it go. The idea that it's almost like you can't stop yourself from wanting to just get, like, you feel like if I could just get my hands around your neck, then I could just shake some sense into you and everything would be fine. It's not going to be fine. You just have to accept that person is like that and let it go. I understand for you, because of your social circle, it seems like almost like it's like a fork. Like there's like prongs kind of in your way. So like dealing with this person causes you to have to snake around your other friends, like you have friends in common or work or something that you do together. But it actually really does appear to come down to the most basic of things. Let it go. Okay, that's you. This is me. I accept you for the not nice person that you are to me. They might be nice to somebody else, but not to you. And I know that's not helpful, but really when you dissect your life and you look back, the hardest things that we have to learn are just dealing with a person who's not going to change and coming to the realization that nothing you say and nothing you do is going to change them because they don't want to change.
Yeah. We have to make sure that we're able to step back, and because if we don't, we keep engaging with these people, then we just become frustrated, and frustration leads to anger. Right?
Fuel, now you have a lot of fuel in that whole energy,
Yeah, I've been attempting to accept them as they are, and I can't, because I just feel always hurt by them. So it's really hard just to step back and say that's how they are, because I'm involved with it in some way or one form or another, in some way or another. And they are the kind of person that if they like you, you get their full support, 100%. And if they don't, not. But it's not really just. It's about,
you need to be fine with that. You don't need person's support. That's okay. You're good without them.
The thing is, I'm not fine with it. I can't get myself fine with it.
You need to pull that up. And if you need to fill up from another source, you have to call on your team or do some angel work or I mean, for me, again, I'm like a little outside my area of expertise, but it's always the Pleiadians when I need something. Healing of all sorts for me is always the Pleiadians. So, they did physically heal me on 2 occasions, and a lot of heartache as well. So if you can pull that in from a safe and divine source like that, then boost your confidence in that way.
Yeah, I've been like on one side, I feel a lot of love in my heart from other sources, but I still can't get rid of the anger with this other situation because something happened. It wasn't like it's a long string of things, and then something specific happened, which just exasperated it. But do any of you feel that there is a past life history with this person? Because I feel there has to be. Otherwise, it would be easier for me to let it go.
I mean, I suspect that. I mean, based on your deep level of anger, but it's few and far between that I get on past life information. But for me, understanding all the past lives, it becomes less important than what to do about it now. So that might be why I'm not great at getting a ton of information.
I agree, but sometimes
like is going on? You know, why want to choke you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I want to love them. I do. It's just really hard. Do you get anything, Temple, about past life?
I totally agree that it's a past life thing. I think I've told you, or at least I've mentioned it in passing before. What I find interesting is that I don't think all sides think it's a past life thing. I'm not sure.
I can't hear you, hon. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is definitely. I'm like 100% sure it's a past life thing, and I feel like it could even be related. Like if you guys were family at one time.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's I would hope that it could get healed this time, but I think it's a lot deeper than just this life. And even let's just say it's not a past life issue. It could be like a multiple timeline issue where
Yeah. Interesting.
you know you're pulling from those other timelines and now it's coming in here and it's forming as a past life.
Yeah.
I guess in a way on different timelines it would be anyway. You know what
I do. And I'd like to thank you for reading the card, Temple. Thank you for doing that. Because part of me is like, you know, go back to college, study, just forget everything to do with this spiritual community. Just let it go because there's so many things about it I don't like. So why am I still here? That's one thing. The other thing, it's connected to extraterrestrials and relationships that I really like that I can't find anyplace else. So it's hard to leave it because of all that kind of connection. But I'm like, but it hurts me a lot to let it go. It hurts me that I see things within it, which are not ideal. Not that I expect everything to be ideal, but I see some pretty crappy stuff. And I think that that knowledge, just a moment, please. So I'm gonna like expel some crap on that one. But the thing is, knowledge in itself, right? I can talk to 100 extraterrestrials a day, and I can talk to whatever spirits, doesn't make me a loving person. And so I find that within spiritual communities where there's a lot of that stuff going on, it really, I don't feel the warmth or the love. It's a different type. And also this generation that we're in now, the younger generation, they just don't relate the way I'm used to relating. So it seems, maybe it's not cold, it just seems that way to me, because that's how people are used to relating nowadays, and it's all good. And it's all meant to be good.
Fair.
Yeah, David.
One thing my team told me some time ago, because I was thinking about this, and it's usually related to like airy fairy people that I classify as airy fairy.
Mm.
You don't have to be nice to be a channeler. You can be a dickhead and be a channeler, right?
And you can be one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like you can be you, and whatever form that takes, just be true to yourself.
Yeah.
And just continue to act as you are. And if someone else doesn't like it, then just spend less time with that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that Alicia and I have talked about a lot. That for some reason, there's a lot of the light. I love that airy fairy. I love it. There's a lot of the light and love, and I won't read. I won't do dark readings, and listen, I'm not picking on anybody, but the reality is, we don't live in an all light world. We don't. You can't have one without the other. So to have the mindset that you're going to partake of only, the good, the light, the bright, and I'm just going to pretend it's not even there. Well, that's not the reality. You know what I mean? Most people wouldn't even be talking if people weren't going through strife and, needing to grow and change and heal and learn. If everything was all light, then we wouldn't need any of this, So the reality is that, you have to give the dark the same nod. If you don't want to practice, black magic and voodoo, that's okay. It might not be your thing. But, those people have their place too,
And we're not endorsing that.
No, we're not endorsing that.
Just to be clear.
You know what I mean?
Another disclaimer. Yeah. So I wanted to connect what I was just saying to what Alicia read about, a different path maybe from what, I thinking I should be going. And so, yeah. And that's already starting to think in that direction because I've actually always wanted to study to be a therapist and a counselor, not within only the spiritual movement, because actually, we're trying to preach to the choir many times and help people in our own choir. But actually, there's a lot of people who don't know any of this, and they need emotional help, and they need someone to talk to who has a really broad perspective that maybe they haven't talked to before. So, I have been thinking, just to go a different path in a way, not completely cut all this off, but emotionally the feeling is to do that.
So there's something that came up when you were talking, and let's see if I can multitask here. So while you were talking, Safira, the idea came to me that someone had told me the story a long time ago about how, like, upstairs you can be the best of friends and you can be family and like love each other, but you can love each other so much that you choose to come down here and be a dick to the other person to help their whatever, to help them learn something, help their growth in some way. And so for whatever reason, I don't know, that just came to me, like, what if, like, upstairs everybody's actually good and cool, and like this was just one of those lives where you agreed to like be jerks to each other and hope that somehow growth would come from it. I don't know why that just popped in my head, but
no, that's a great perspective as well. Yeah, thank you.
That's something that I believe as well, and many shaman that I know and different mediums that I've worked with, we actually believe that life involves planning, so you do it with your team and you choose. So you and I might be mother and daughter in one life, and then two brothers in the next, and then murderer and murdered. But that this is the classroom, and that the soul continues to come down to experience different lessons. So you might be connecting more to, Alicia says upstairs, whereas this other person is, a little more living in what you agreed to do in body. So maybe the shaman. And if I can remember the name of the person, Alicia, I'll send it to you. She is a shaman, and she's also a therapist.
That's the shaman.
I know her name, Dee. I can't. It'll come to me at 3 a.m. and I'll send it to you. And she has a lot of writings and things like that. So that might be a good person for you to check out.
Ian said that he was just informed of family estate issues in his family.
Whoa, there you go.
This is so interesting. So I pulled the same card that I did. That's so crazy. All right, so it's the same card.
Ian's here if you need to ask him a question.
No, I really didn't have a question to ask. I just thought it was interesting because it was actually just last night on the phone. I was talking to a family member, and the discussion was about a family squabble that is happening about custody or guardianship of another family member, tracking that property and the estate. And now attorneys are getting involved. So it's starting to get quite contentious. It doesn't have to do, I'm not personally involved with it, but it is with my direct family. So that's what I just typed in the chat, that I thought it was interesting that I just had that conversation yesterday with that family member.
So is that, this situation seems like it's like there's siblings or, the group, but the problem actually isn't even started by one of the blood relatives. It's started by a spouse or someone else who's really like the one that's agitating the situation or kind of started the problem. So the fire starter doesn't even seem to be, someone in the family. Just the siblings are agitated now because of this outsider.
Yeah. You're mostly right, because the siblings are agitated, and the person who is in control that's causing the agitation is someone who has not been involved in the family. So it's still family member, but it's an outsider who is causing the agitation, and it's causing the agitation with the siblings.
It's so unfortunate because it seems like the outcome is, it's like if the person would just take a minute, you know, and just think out how much money is about to be spent on attorneys and how much is going to bleed out as a result of it, then everybody could really walk away in a much better situation. But it's almost like the legacy that was left for, it seems like the kids, or for the people, the receivers. So it's going to be a little bit tarnished. You know, it's unfortunate.
Yes, it'll get ugly.
I mean, you'll be okay, but yeah, that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I've already dealt with that in my family, so this is on another section of the family that's happening too. So
But
I was giving counsel.
Yeah, see, there you go. But no, I do appreciate you jumping in and saying no, that I'm in the group and that, you know, it resonated for me. So
Thank
okay,
you.
so you don't have any questions. You don't have any questions, Ian? You're good.
I had the same questions that I always had, that I talk to you and David about constantly. And, you know, Ruth, I'm glad to actually get to meet you because I've heard a lot about you because I talk to Alicia on a weekly basis. So your name comes up periodically, that, you know, says she has this cool friend named Ruth. so now I get to meet you and I'm glad about that. I've been struggling for the last couple of years with a very severe case of depression. And the analogy I use is like being out in the Sahara Desert and you don't know which way to go. You're completely lost and you have no motivation to do anything. And it has completely debilitized your life, meaning you have shut down, you have disconnected. And I don't know what to do at this point. And it's been 2 years. I've been waiting for it to pass. You know, as things usually do, you know, you go through something and then it'll pass. But this is really dragging out for a long time. Do you have anything that you feel about that?
Yeah. So just as you were saying the Sahara Desert, and I thought you were going to say, you know, like you didn't know your way out. And so for me, I thought of a diver. You know, when divers get to a certain, you know, depth, you don't know where up is, you don't know where down is. So that kind of feeling of, you know, can't find your way out. So that's sort of what I was picturing when you got to that point. But it almost seemed like there was a triggering event 2 years ago that, and I don't know what it was, but it was something that happened. And I don't even know if you're fully aware of it, but something happened which was related to something many years ago, like in your youth. So something repeated and caused you to go into this depression. So it was almost like maybe a subconscious thought I was beyond this. Something kind of was able to, the word I see is like prick your soul almost, you know, kind of make it bleed. But it seems to me that it's more of like an unraveling would be in order. Do you know what from the shamanic teachings? Do you know what an unraveling is by chance? Are you with any?
Not from a shamanic teaching standpoint. I just know of unraveling as in you unravel and come out of control.
That's right. So yeah. So when you're unraveling, a good thing to do is, you know, have unraveling work from a shaman. You know, and shaman are people that they're amazing. You know, it's hard to find a good one. We do have some resources, so if you're interested, I can have. I'll send them to Alicia. And a lot of them have writings, you know, online. They're free. And you can learn different journeys that you can do. Kind of put yourself into a. You can work with them, do sessions with them, or you can learn how to journey yourself and put yourself into a trance-like state, and you journey into the shamanic world. And during that time, you'll get information. You can ask a spirit guide to go with you. I would imagine that a galactic partner might also be willing to go with you as well. But when a person has been in sort of a depression for an extended period of time and can't figure out why and can't I don't know if you have used any kind of you know, medications or anything like that, or self-medication.
I'm medication resistant and have
Yeah.
been considering using ECT.
Okay, well, I think you're wise to be medication resistant. Now, that I'm not condoning, don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. In your particular case, it seems like you're very sensitive. Like, you seem to be a person that takes a Tylenol. You seem like you never take a Tylenol, but if you did, you would feel it right away. So, you know, I think in your case, I understand why you're afraid of it. I'm also not saying don't take, people out there, don't take medication if you need it. Talk to your doctor. But in your particular case, I think one of the big problems is that you do need a little help here. And because of your strong personality and the fact that you've always been able to get yourself out of everything before with minimal help, this is a challenge for you. So in your case, medication, I understand your concerns, but I would seek a shaman, and I would look into maybe a bit of unraveling. So how do I explain this? Because it's big stuff. I mean, it's not soul retrieval work. It's taking energies off of you. Let's say going back, kind of, not past life regression, but going back to the time that this began, and removing any cords, ties, you know, psychic attachments, or repairing any kind of energy leaks. And I know that's some airy-fairy stuff, but it's true. It happens. So, you know, when you think about energy, it'll like, even though that seems like woohoo, because there was a time when somebody suggested that I do it. I was like, yeah, you're a damn nut. And you know what? I did it and it worked, and I was baffled. But there's a lot more to it than I can clearly explain. It's certainly worth checking out. But I will say that, you know, energy, you know how it is. When you walk into a room where two people have just had an argument, they can have a smile, everything's fine. You feel it in the room. You just do. That's energy. So if you've had a situation where your aura has been damaged, or you've had someone put a psychic cord on you, there are a lot of different words for that. Sucking your energy, kind of like that feeling when you know somebody's going to call you, they're thinking of you, and then the phone rings. That's been explained many different ways in actual scientific studies. Same thing, but when there are people maybe that would do it for you know, more malicious, more dark, you know, or just wanting to pull on you, agitate you, you know, it creates an energy leak. And, you know, over time that can damage you. You know, your psychic body, your energetic body is just as, you know, important as your physical body. But people don't want to believe it's there. They'll go to chemistry class and they'll learn about Einstein, and energy can be, you know, neither be created nor destroyed, and they'll accept that, but they won't accept that energy can affect us and our, you know, our physical life, our spiritual life, and our psychic life. So I would say a good shaman should be able to set you on a path, you know, to healing.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I was gonna say, if your people are still there yet, Ruth, can you ask? Because you said something about Ian having a galactic partner. So I was just wondering if maybe Ian has a galactic partner, and that's why he's hanging out all the time in like 4th, 5th, 6th dimension.
I don't know. Is he? I hear the name Mara, M-A-R-A. So that's you know, somebody who knows more would have to jump in there.
Okay, that's cool though. Oh, you never got the link. I never sent Patrick the link. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
No wonder that the Wiz hasn't been on. I'll send you the link. Okay, so the next question is from Tara Tees, and she is on. Tara, are you in the panel now? I don't even know.
Is that Gloria? Tara?
Yep, I'm here.
Yes. Okay. Ask away.
Okay, so I'm considering selling the house I'm in now and moving to Northern Ontario. I'm living in the south part of Ontario in Canada. I'm getting mixed messages for myself, whether I should move or should I move somewhere else or stay here. I have total confusion around this whole subject for myself.
I mean, it seems like it's a great idea to move. The only thing I get is timing. So maybe the time that you're initially thinking of is not ideal. And I think one trick that would work for you, it's not a trick. One thing that would work for you, and take a calendar, if you can get like an 18-month calendar.
Okay.
And pick, just intuitively say, okay, I'm thinking of this time, and then maybe pick another block in 3 months and do it maybe in 3 or 4 month blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you work with a pendulum.
Yes, I got 5 of them sitting here.
Perfect. So just work with your pendulum over an 18-month calendar, and you will actually hit the exact week.
Okay.
That's the house. But the place actually seems really good for you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
So from my side, my guys are just saying that it's important to know why you want to move. Really establish, what am I moving for? What am I looking to gain by being in a new situation, in a new environment?
Mm-hmm.
So make sure to write down on a list things that you benefit from by moving and things that you may lose on the other side, and weigh that, whether it is proper for you as a benefit versus detriment to you moving.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, awesome. The next one is Jen. Are you in the room? I'm not really sure what Jen's question was. I think she had some general questions.
I think she mentioned that she wanted a reading, but for me, I can piggyback off of Ruth connecting to her, but I can't connect to her unless I see her for the most part.
Okay, let me just run through this real quick. So
can we hold her spot maybe? And
we can hold her spot. Yeah, definitely. Can you come back to me? Yes. Okay. Yes, we can definitely do that. So the next one was Val. Is Val here? I should know who's here and who isn't. Val wanted a past life reading. Val wanted a past life reading, and so while everybody was talking, I did that for her because she said that she had a QHHT and she wasn't able to be hypnotized. So she wanted to know if anybody can tap into any of her past life history. So do you guys want me to start? And Val, are you on Zoom or are you on YouTube?
Yeah, Val, if you're here, if I can hear or see you, then it's Val.
Hey again.
Oh, Val. Okay.
I didn't connect.
Same old Val. Same old Val.
Okay. So this is what. So do you have any interest or connection with Greco-Roman? And that's like a vague thing when I say Greco-Roman. But if you think like Greece and Rome and wearing their little leaf crowns, things like that, those people. Okay. So what I pulled for you is that there was a time in Greco-Roman period, and we can nail this down more specifics a little bit later, but I just wanted to get the basics out, because there are times when I can nail down within like a 5-year range of like the date that you actually lived. But so for now, you were, oh, you know what? I should probably ask, oh, well, we know you were female. Let me just double check on that. I'm pretty sure you were female. Okay. So you were female and you were considered, today we call them like high priest, high priestesses, but basically whatever job you had, it was a communal living where you were learning mystery school things, or you were like we're doing now, giving advice to people. And the part of being in there, part of being like one of the chosen ones and like going through the schools and being accepted, was that you were not able to have any relations and you were not able to bear any children. If that happened, there was drastic consequences for that. And it turned out that you actually did get pregnant. And they gave you the option of not terminate. They didn't say you had to terminate the pregnancy, but they did say that you had to give the child up as would be an orphan, or that you weren't able to keep the child. And so if you were going to keep the child, you would have to leave. And so you left. And it said you left on a ship. And so sometimes they mean galactic ships, sometimes they mean like regular ocean ships. So I'm guessing this was an ocean ship where you actually left. Now, we can try and pull some more cards. I don't know if that struck any chord with you or anything.
No, I'm just like really attracted to, or like really interested in Egyptian history. So I thought maybe there was a tie there, or
It definitely could be. So in Greco-Roman, that could be like the Cleopatra area or timeline. And I would have to like definitely look up just to make sure I would get this all right. But yeah, there is definitely when the Greeks, I think it was the Romans, somebody came in and conquered Egypt around, Lonnie's smiling. Somebody came and conquered Egypt around that time the Greco-Roman people did. And so there was a lot of combining of culture. And so it would make sense that as the high priest, priestess thing, it could have Egyptian ties to it. So maybe that's where that's coming from. Definitely. And that would be like what they always consider like the last of the Egyptian, Cleopatra's like the last of the Egyptians. So it would be in that time, and then you left. So you wouldn't give your child up, which I'm sure there was a lot of shame. Like I'm sure they tried to shame you, and like a lot of times before like the Greco-Roman Egyptian period, they a lot of times would just give you the option of terminating the pregnancy or killing yourself. So the fact that you left kind of says a lot about your integrity and your determination. And yeah, so it says monk or nun. So it was definitely like a religious. It was a religious type of occupation. Ruth, did you get anything coming from that? Anybody?
That was outside my realm.
Okay, David.
Yeah, it's not to do with past lives, but it is. My team was telling me that you have Arcturians that are communicating with you. They communicate with you through the dream state, and they're tall blue beings that look kind of like angels when you see them. So my team just wanted me to tell you to look into Arcturians because they are guiding you and helping you right now. So they communicate through music and through dreams, and they're helping you along your path with something.
With something.
Yeah, they're not really saying what. I can look into that though more. One sec.
When David said music, I got chills, and so I like them. I'm not really familiar with all the different types of like priests, priestesses, what we consider monk nun occupations back then, but I do know that some of them specifically dealt with music, and so that really rang true for me when David was talking about the connect through with music. So it is possible that whatever type of priestess you were, you had a big focus on music, and it could even be like music vibration healing, something like that.
It was like a Gregorian chant type thing, which is normally more male, but it seems like there's some involvement with that type of chant.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked that up, because then I was thinking like, well, the only thing that I really know for Egyptian stuff, which I'm sure it's not the only thing, but like a lot of people when they talk about Egypt and music, they talk about the Hathors. So I don't know if you are familiar with them at all, but that's just one outlet. I'm sure there's many more that were there, but the Hathors are really well known for their priestesses and what they did with music and vibration and sound and healing. And I can get you, if you look up Tom Kenyon, Kenyon, he does Hathor music. So that may help you connect in a little bit better.
Okay.
Well. Oh, sorry, go ahead, David.
I was just going to say that's perfect because my team was just talking about, I kind of started to channel there for a second, and they were saying that it's important for you to find a place where you can be peaceful with yourself, and music will be involved. Music, for whatever reason, is like a peaceful place for you over other things. And so if Hathors, they are the masters of sound, it's my understanding as well, that they speak in a quaternary and trinary language. And so they have a way to heal with sound and do more with sound than other species and races. So perhaps it's this Hathor music that will help you to find that peaceful moment so you can almost have a spot where you can take off like a starting line, a sprint and a starting line. You need solid footing for yourself to take off before you launch. I hope that makes sense. I know it's kind of cryptic.
You say Hathor music?
Hathor.
Okay.
Hathor. I'm sorry. I'm
Okay. And still not getting anything on like any future, near future love potential? Because I don't know. I'm just like stuck.
You gotta do the work first. They're screaming. Yeah. Do the work first.
If you get into a relationship right now, it's not going to be good because you're just going to unload all of your trauma that you're dealing with right now on that other person, which won't be healthy for your relationship. So you have to heal yourself. And when you find a moment in your life where you feel peaceful and ready, then that person will manifest as a reflection of you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Sorry, trying to multitask. Okay, the next person, we're gonna go back to Jen. Are you there, Jen? Jen. She says, I'm here.
Okay, you're muted, Jen.
Can you unmute? There you go.
Hi.
Do you have a webcam? There you go.
Yeah, I just turned it on.
Yay, okay.
I've been cleaning all day, and yeah, I told I told Temple, and I forgot your actual name. I know I've heard it before, but I told her that I've been cleaning all day, and I was trying to get myself together, and then I have a 9-year-old daughter, and she was able to go over to my neighbor's house. So sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. So feel free, ask any questions you have, and we'll just start from there when we can get energy readings.
Well, I've been stuck in a groove of not really having a good job like I used to, and I'm not sure what I should do, like where I should, what I should go into or anything. And I also was seeing somebody that's quite a bit younger than me, and we still talk, and actually that's where my daughter went. So I don't know what to do about him either.
So I could just talk about what comes up first. When I first connect to your energy, I can feel this kind of like staticky feeling. And for me, that means you have like a lot of charge as far as you spend a lot of time around technology or not enough time around nature.
Probably both. I used to work at a software company. Okay. So I kind of know a lot about technology. So I happen to be on my, computer.
Okay.
But
So
are you saying?
What's happening is it's causing EMF and EMR to accumulate in your body, and that's causing you to be affected physiologically because I can feel it from here. And
yeah, I have. Well, right now I am like, I feel like I have like anxiety right now.
Yeah.
Because for one, I don't like the webcam, and for two, I was just like, oh my God, I can get like a reading. So I am like right now, yeah, I am charged.
Okay, so there's a couple things that are coming at the same time. So the first thing is EMF and EMR, when it accumulates in your body, it can cause you to be agitated. It can cause you to be short-tempered. It can cause you to get poor sleep, and it can cause you to lose focus. So when I connect to your energy, I'm getting up, down, left, right, like all of these different directions. So it's telling me that, well, the charge is causing your focus to go out the window essentially.
Okay.
And this is causing this connection with your daughter. Is your daughter, you said?
Yeah, I have two daughters actually. I have a 9-year-old daughter, and I have a I can't believe she's 28, and and she has 3 young boys.
Okay.
I'm actually a grandma too.
Okay, so this staticness that I'm feeling is just it's causing troubles with your 9-year-old to connect with you energetically. And I mean, it's something that she wants to be closer with you with, but it's like your mind is in all these different places, and she's like, she's too busy for me.
I could understand that, yeah. Although I feel like her and I are pretty close, like we're very similar. And she's just an angel.
Yeah, I think that you have a soul connection with her. Like she is probably, I think she was a sister with you in a past life. And so she wants more from you. And I know you give her a lot and you have this fantastic connection, but she wants even more. She just wants personal time with you.
Right, right. I can see that. She's very smart, very perceptive, if that's, I don't know if I'm saying it the right way. But yeah, and like I said, I feel like her and I are a lot alike.
You are a lot alike. And actually, you guys were twins in one life.
Okay, because a lot of times I'll say something, she'll say, that's what I was going to say. And then she'll say something, I go, that's what I was going to say. So I'm like, Elena, I don't think we hardly have to talk because we already know what each other is going to say. And she's like, I know. So it's funny.
So that's what I get.
That's cool. That's really cool. So I've also okay, go ahead. I'm going to let Ruth, were you going to say something?
Well, what I was going to say, initially, your question about the job, like I see school, like a certification, not like a 4-year degree, but a certification in something. And it's like your passion job. So it's going to get certified for something that you used to love. And we're like, no, I can't. It's too whatever. It's either not enough money or it's too crazy or my mom will kill me, whatever that was, whatever the fire was. This is the time to do it. But whatever the initial problem was with it still remains. And it almost seems like whatever it is that you love is not really enough money. I don't know what that is. So like when you think back and say, wow, I love this, a thing that you love, that you could get paid to do.
I mean, I guess, yeah, I used to be like a project coordinator, project manager, although I didn't have like my PMP certification. And most people, most employers want that because if another company is going to hire that company and they need a project manager on that job, they want to know that they're certified.
But is that
my passion?
Yeah.
I mean, no.
It sounds like it's something that was your passion because it paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the thing that lights your soul on fire. That you could never have done for a job because you used to know.
It was become a Bikram yoga instructor and open my own studio, and then but okay, my older daughter, she had moved on, but now I have a younger daughter, and you have to go to training for like 3 months away, like somewhere hot. It's really intense, and I don't know. The other real passion I had though, when I really got into that and eating well and like the whole thing, like Reiki and all of that stuff, I've always been so attracted to all of that as well. Like the whole healing thing, everything. But I don't know if that's really for me. I don't know. And I wouldn't know exactly how to get into it, I guess.
Actually, I have some resources I can send to Alicia that she could forward to you if you're interested in learning about that. You know, that's something that you can kind of start small and get certified and learn about it. Actually, I know some amazing Reiki people.
Well, I have
like an amazing yogi who's a Reiki person, who's down in Florida, and she's got all crazy rainbow hair.
But yeah, I already have like a million crystals. I have quite a few oracle decks, tarot decks, ruins.
Yeah, you're in the tribe, you know, so I mean, you're supposed to be doing some of this stuff. And I think your daughter's pretty intuitive too. You know?
She is.
So she has like dreams, and you know,
cool.
yeah, she gets information through her dreams. And so she needs you to start heading in this way. So right now, even though you are very close, that's kind of what she's trying to connect to. She needs you to be on the path so that she can connect with that new energy. And you know, going into 2021 with all the crazy that's happening, you know, we need as many people doing Reiki, doing yoga, sending out, you know, doing light language, sending out the good, to calm all the crazy. So that's something where you don't have to necessarily quit your day job, so to speak. But you can get into it. You could build some community, and then you know you'll turn, because you're resourceful, so you'll turn this into some hybrid thing, and be able to run your own studio eventually, where you're also doing Reiki and your daughter's involved. And by the way, I mean, you know, it's something to think about, like just for your mind a little bit. You know, this is the year of all kids going to school online, and so as you go do your training, your daughter could have her little laptop. Just a suggestion.
Well, she's doing homeschool, and actually, I tried to go to school a year ago, and I do really want to go back, but I really didn't apply myself like for the last year and a half. I was trying to, you know, go back to school, and I thought if I could go into business, some type of business, then eventually I could have my own business.
But you know business already. I mean, you were project manager, so you ran other people's businesses, right? So just own the heartache, own the headache, own the like worry about the bills. Don't worry about the bills. But you know, I mean, you might as well work for yourself.
Yeah,
that's how it looks for me. You need to follow the passion, get more into you know the things that bring you peace. And then so the other thing, real quick, was about the person that you mentioned that you had been dating. That was a weird thing because I'm hearing like that's bad, like, and I didn't know what that was about. And I expected to pull all these cards that were like danger and just terrible and wicked, and that didn't really happen. It was more like this is just a friend. It's just a friend. It's a person that's just always supposed to be a friend. Not a bad guy. The thing that's like bad was kind of trying to take a friend and like beat him into like, you know, another situation, you know,
right.
Beat that person into another situation, and make them have kind of a different role than the one they're really good at in your world, which is a friendship. And it seems like if you can accept that, then it'll be a harmonious situation. And it seems good for your daughter too.
Yeah, I mean, he used to live with me, and he has a son that's like a year and a half apart from my daughter. And I've known him like 5 years now. And we keep going like back and forth, and yeah,
it doesn't have to be like a defined thing, you know. It can have like blurry edges, but I don't think that that's where you're going to land. I think that's a great friend that has your highest good, you know, at heart. So I don't know if you would agree with that, but that's definitely how it appears to me. You know, there's a younger person too. You know, younger people, you know, we're all still learning. So
no, I know.
Some of the things that were done in the course of that relationship were not necessarily malicious. That was youth speaking. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of we went through a lot.
Right, a lot of stuff. But it wasn't like again, it was youth. So,
okay.
You know, in time, and the atonement for that is this great friendship. So,
Right.
you know.
Okay. Then I guess the only other thing is my health. I keep getting urinary tract infections, like back to back to back. And I actually am going in for a CT urogram or whatever next week. And yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
Alicia or Temple, did you want to address that at all? I was just going to say something on it if you don't have anything.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm actually, I'm not plugged in that way. I'm plugged in with like keeping things up on the chat and all that stuff.
Okay. Jen, as far as that goes, the first thing I get is that this sexual connection that you have with this man, it's causing confusion within your sexual chakra. And this, because this is, it's causing a distortion in your field. Now, because your field is distorted, it's causing, my team is just showing me actually the top of the chakra where there's an issue. And this issue is causing, they just show me these bubbles. Now, I don't really know what this means exactly right now. I'm starting the channel. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, I'm just trying to come back. It's causing your energy to be out of balance with your sexual chakra. So.
Well, and it's funny that you say that because I've been told that before. I did work with someone and they did like a past life regression, I think it was, and they helped me to cut the cords with this young person. And then we ended up having like relations again, and she had told me, don't do that. And so I don't know, I think I've come to accept. She said the same thing though. She said, you know, not right now, at least. She kept saying not right now. And in the back of my head, I'm like, no, that probably means that by the time I'm to the friendship level and I'm over the other part, that I won't want him anymore.
It's all this turmoil within yourself that's causing the disruption in the chakra.
Is it, so me not letting go?
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, how do I know that he's a great friend and that, you know, his son, my daughter, all four of us get along great as friends, but I don't know how to get over that other part and be friends with him. Like I keep going back to, I just need to stop talking to him altogether. But then I'm like, he's always been there for me too. So I don't know. It's hard. Like, I don't know how to, I feel like it's hard for me to just be friends without thinking in the back of my head that eventually we'll get back together.
Right. Now, there is something, I know there's a lot of women here right now, so I hope I don't pull any hairs or anything, but women tend to connect emotionality with sexuality a lot more than men. And when they do that, it causes energetic ties to be created that wouldn't otherwise be there. So he's pulling at your heartstrings through sexuality, and it's because you're connecting emotionally with him during sex and you're thinking about him emotionally because of sex. So if you can disconnect emotionally, I don't want you to do that, but disconnect from him in that way. Just thinking that what my team is saying is try not to think of him as like the father of your daughter and he would make a suitable partner in that way. And all of these things that he's very suitable role to fulfill in that role. And rather treat him as, if you want to have just a sex friend, that's okay. If he's nice to your child, that's awesome. And he provides a supportive role, but he doesn't have to be there all the time. And he doesn't always have to have that part of your heart, because
Right.
that part of your heart has to be free if you're going to find your true partner.
Right. So how do I cut those cords that I basically reconnected? Because I feel like they're there again. So I need to do it myself. And I have tried and I need to, but that was, I guess, before the last time. So I just need to stay that way, I guess. And if I can get to the point where I have been in the past, like, you know, just a sexual friend or whatever. And I've been that way like for years when I was younger. So there's just something about right now, I guess. I don't know. He was there when my dad passed away 4 years ago. My dad was like my best friend. And that's when he was living with me. He helped with everything. And he's just always been there. So I know that's part of it too. It's almost like I think that part of me, I'm hanging on to him because my dad's gone. I don't.
And you're looking for that kind of complement of male aspect in your life.
Yeah, because he and I do a lot of the same things my dad and I did. Like we cook together. He likes to cook. He's very like wants to recycle everything. My dad was like that. I'm like that, but not so much that he doesn't live here anymore. You know, like he would love to grow his own food. So would I. Like we both know like what we need to do to take care of our bodies. And we did that when he lived here. And anyway, my dad was very, very much like that too. So
I know you're connecting to your dad through him, but there's other ways to connect with your dad. And Ruth is a beautiful medium. I've only heard wonderful things about her, and from my experience with her today, she's very accurate. So I don't know if she does private readings, but I would.
Does. We were just talking about that. I put that information in the mail. I mean, so Ruth, if someone would contact you and say, hey, I really would like to talk to my dad, like, is that something that you would do?
I can't guarantee that. I mean, I can give them tips on how we can get dad to come in, but when I do a reading, I can't make any. I never start a reading with who do you want to talk to. I usually ask my clients to say a prayer or communicate. You know, of course, I mean, if they have a loved one on the other side, we're always talking to them and say, hey, Dad, I have this reading, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard on Tuesday. Jump in. You know, but you have to really invite them because it's the same as it is here. Like, I can't just call you, on Tuesday at 3 and expect you to be home. Like, I didn't tell you. There's some kind of a misnomer that, they're just kind of hanging out, watching us, waiting for us to do interesting stuff so they can just jump in and chime in. So we have to invite them, but I will say also, I have had clients that come and they're really dying to talk to their mom, and for whatever reason it's not the time, and they just end up getting psychic information, and they or some kind of psychic development, or they get
right.
whatever it could be. But I always say that they get whatever it is that they need in the reading, and I haven't had anybody. There might have been one. There's always one, that that's like, well, this just sucked. Because you think you know what you need, but the soul knows, So what comes out is really what you need to hear.
Right. Yeah, and it's not so much. I just miss him. Like I know, I feel like he's always with me and with my younger daughter. He went through like my divorce with us. My dad was really, really there. I had a really hard time with my divorce. And so I'm on different medications now, which one of those medications might be the reason that I'm all jumpy, like you were saying, David. Some of the people I've gone to have said that I don't necessarily need them. But because...
Be careful with that. I mean, be careful with that. We can say what we get, but at the same time, mistakes can be made with that. So, you take your intuitive guidance and pair it with common sense and your doctor and what's actually going on with you. But, take it seriously. It's another tool in your toolbox, so to speak. But, I mean, let's talk to your dad. Call me. We'll chat with him.
And I also, this just came across as you guys were talking, but what if I should ask you first, do you talk to your dad as if he's still listening to you, or like still there and interacting with you just in a different way? Or are you putting all of that onto this other male friend? Like if you could separate the two and notice that your dad is still around, just in a different way, and like talk to him and see the signs that he leaves for you. That might help like separate the relationship with this other male, so you can take kind of the fatherly stuff off of it, because your dad's still there, he's just not physically there. It's just a different, I don't know,
I know.
maybe I'm not explaining this very well.
No, I know.
No, I mean, so do you feel like you're getting a response? I mean, I can teach you how to talk to him to where he's responding. You know, you get the thing. So, right, a person who doesn't have the thing, we all have it, by the way. You know, we all have
Yeah.
it. The extent to which we develop it has to do with how open our mind is and how much time we're willing to put into it. You
Right.
know, how polluted you allow your mind to be. So if this is all nonsense, hocus pocus, it's the work of the devil, all that, well, then,
No,
you know,
absolutely not.
then you're not going to be able to do it. But the reality is, intuition is there for a reason. It used to help us find water. It would help us find shelter. It would help us find our true north. I mean, we all have it, right? So, but as far as like really being able to develop it, and a person who's not in the club, so to speak, doesn't have a house filled with crystals and cards and things like that. You do. So, you know, why don't we just work on that? Like, you know, getting you to a point where you're doing kind of a question and answer. I've taught a lot of people how to do this. It's really easy. And you know, it's, again, energy, it's not destroyed, it's just different, right?
Right,
So, you know,
right.
instead of being right here, you have to learn how to connect with here and here and here and here and here, you know. So it's not as hard as it seems, you know.
Yeah, I guess I don't talk to him as much as I should. I always know he's near me, and sometimes I guess I will, but not like I should. And I know that sometimes there are signs that he's around, that I think of him. Like, he used to love Canadian honkers. I know that sounds crazy, but every time I hear them go by, I'm like, hi, Dad, you know. And someone else has always told me that he's with me every morning that I have coffee. And yeah.
I think Ruth would, if it's something you're feeling called to, I think Ruth would be a good contact to have, because she can teach you how to be more in it with him. So, you know,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're really getting, you know, like, they talk to me. My own father disowned me because I do this, even though I have a children's book about angels on Amazon right now. But my father decided that I must work for the devil, and because he's born again, speaking in tongues, you know, he on his deathbed didn't call me. Well, guess what's one of the best things you can ever do to agitate that person who thinks you work for the devil? When they die and they show up and you're in the
Right.
shadow, you can say,
Right.
well,
Right.
hello. And you know what? And he, you know, and he does show up. And you know what? He's still the same guy, even though he's dead. I mean, so the soul does go over to the other side and do work and evolve, but you know, it takes time, right? So there's no time over there. So he might still be an ass for like an extended period of time, you know, maybe until he comes back down, or until he kind of graduates, whatever it is that he's working on.
Right.
But
Right.
2 years later, you
Yeah,
know.
which I believe in all of that. Like, it's almost like I have an intuitive knowing of all of that. And honestly, I would like to be able to talk to my spirit guides.
I mean, and that's a useful thing too, because they'll help you decipher. You know,
Right.
when you're first, you do need to. David's right. You know, learn how to protect yourself, protect your space, because again, you know, you're a lighthouse, right? And especially when you first start doing it, and your light goes on, they're like, oh, look at this, there's a light, and then they all come, right? So there's so much truth in these
Which I
movies.
feel like they have.
Wait, yeah. Well, tell them beat it, you know, unless I call you. So you know, there's so much truth in these movies that we see, like, you know, I always forget the classic "I See Dead People," you know, the Bruce Willis. I don't remember the name of it, but you know, I explain it like in Christmas Carol, the part where you see all the ghosts, where Marley comes and says, "You see them out there." And that's really true. You know, a lot of the souls that, for whatever reason, they haven't crossed over, or they're really attached, they're really anchored. They're looking, you know, maybe they were addicted, or they're afraid to go to the light, whatever the case may be. They got issues, and they're hanging out waiting for a light. and a person who doesn't protect themselves, and next thing you know, you have two problems, because now you have this jump in, and then we got to get you shaman. It's a whole big mess. So just start off from, protect yourself and take it slow, and you'll have an interaction and a dialogue with him just like a regular person. And there's a lot of people that'll think you're crazy. Well, don't tell them.
Right. Well, I don't really have anybody to tell besides this friend of mine.
So
I mean, I'm just saying, you really can do it. A lot of people don't think that you can, but you can. And,
Right.
Of course, it's another willing participant, right? I'm sure your dad sees this and you're connected and he's there and he wants to talk to you. You just have to tune into the frequency. Everybody always uses the radio dial.
Right.
So you just got to get it right.
And if you're connecting to him and you're feeling his presence, then you're already over halfway there, right?
Right.
Like, that's your empathy. You're feeling his emotions as your own. Your body, you may get tactile sensations of goosebumps or whatever, or coolness when he's around. Now that is him telling you that he's around. So if you're sensitive enough that you can feel that, then you're sensitive enough where you can speak to him. He can always hear you no matter what. Whether or not you can hear him has to do with your clairaudience. So you may have to, spirits can communicate with us in many different ways. Sometimes if you're stronger clairvoyantly, you'll get images and pictures, right?
Right.
If you're clairaudient, you might get greater audio. So it really depends how you develop and how your natural abilities lie.
I just need to focus on it more.
Pretty much.
I mean, the hardest part is staying out of your head. But again,
that is my problem.
It would be a fun thing for you to, invest a little time in, different ways to connect, and just some, little tips that I can give you. And then, and we'll do a reading too, and check in with your dad, and kind of get, I think once people actually get into a reading, and then there's something, because the way that I work, I'm not happy with me. I try to stay out of it, but I'm not happy with a reading unless I don't want to hear about, like, oh, they wish you well, you're doing really great in your job. And so,
Right now.
I want to know about the time that you broke your arm, falling off a bike, going down the hill when you were 8, and you had a green cast on your left arm. That's what I want to hear about. And then to me, that really is evidence that we have the right person there. You know what I mean? Or the stuffed animal that you still have under your bed, at 43, and it's a ladybug.
So it could be someone else. I'm just curious, like that comes in and.
Yes, that's what I mean when I say,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's if you get a good medium, they're going to be able to spot that. But I'm not going to tell you it doesn't happen. It's just like that analogy of the water cooler and your office. You and I are talking, and here comes somebody else just butting into the conversation. It's like, oh, you can see me even though I'm dead. Like, I want to talk, and they cut in front of the person that wants. And then you ask them to leave.
Makes sense. It totally makes sense now that you say that. I guess I just never thought of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
That happens with your spirit guides. It happens with galactics. It happens with deceased humans. It happens with everything. Now, it doesn't matter if I'm doing telepathy or channeling or mediumship. Same thing happens. There's always someone that wants to say something.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people that can't see them, so they get excited, if they're earthbound, or if they're just like chatty people looking to, be heard. Some people just like to talk.
Right.
It happened in my own family. Like I had someone that I really thought was my aunt, and it wasn't. And that got me. I mean, I was newer, I was only like a year old, but it takes time. But it was after, it only took a minute. You know what I mean? The bottom line is, if you're a person that is working in light, that's what you say. That's what you call in. It doesn't mean that you don't realize that you refuse to acknowledge that the dark is there. That's not what I'm talking about. You have to acknowledge that, because again, we go back to, you have to have one. You have to acknowledge it, right? But if you're asking for protection, you're not just saying anybody that wants to talk can talk to me.
Right.
You wouldn't go down the street and do that. You'd just be like, get away from me. Who are you?
Right.
I think a lot of new people that are starting and like starting to communicate with the other side, or, you know, other beings and things like that, they get really excited because somebody's talking to them. Well, again, just keep it like it's like a busy street. You know, you're kind of looking for one person. You're looking for that guy that you're meeting for a job interview at 3 o'clock, not like that other guy that he just wants to come talk to you. So they have to really confirm who they are, without a doubt, and then we'll talk.
How do you do that with spirit guides then?
Like your spirit guides or my spirit guides?
Yeah, well,
If I'm going to ask about your spirit guides, I'm going to ask my spirit guides if they're BS. That's what
okay.
So as a medium, but for yourself, well, I like, as you start your work, you're going to be working in prayer. You know, you're going to be clearing your space. You're going to be keeping it right. So, you know, you have to have some kind of faith. I don't know whether you're a religious person or whatever the case may be. You're not inviting anything dark into your home. And it's also, you know, the fact that you're here, you're at a point in your life where you're willing to start making changes. You know, you're seeking some kind of guidance. And
right.
so,
I mean, I also know, like, we all need to claim our own sovereignty right now. Like, there's so much darkness, right? I mean, that can try to take over any of us at any point, in a way. I mean, I know I'm really exaggerating, but it's kind of like we need to say, like, no, you're not welcome here, right? I mean,
I personally, I feel like this more than any other year, we need everybody doing everything. You know, back when I first came to know about all of the things, whether it was galactics or, you know, mediums, tarot readers, light language, all that stuff, it was like, well, this one's better than that one. You know, it's like every other Facebook group. I'm not on Facebook for this reason.
right.
But there was all of that stuff, and I feel like now more often than not, you're seeing these different groups coming together, working together, and saying, just like we said before, you know, we want everybody lifting up. You know, it really is true to raise the vibe, but
Right.
don't be, what is it, airy fairy? Don't be an airy fairy, because you have to be aware of the problematic group over here and what they're doing. Don't
Right.
turn a blind eye to them, because that's what they want. So you really want to be doing all of your spiritual work. You know, we have to ascend in one way or another.
And
So,
just to add on to that real quick, because I know that we're coming to an end. It's always good to raise your vibration before doing energy work. Okay, you want to keep it raised all the time if you can, because if you're doing that and you're susceptible to energies, you're going to be influenceable by beings. Now, if you're at a low vibration and you're sensitive enough that you may be perceiving like darker things, you're going to hear dark stuff. If you're at a low vibration, you become more susceptible to beings that are in that vibration. So if you raise your vibration up really high before you do energy work, specifically, then you'll cue into beings will cue into you that are of a similar vibration. Okay, so there's a lot of energetic principles and stuff like that. You don't have to learn all of that, but it's important to learn the ground rules. Like, you can set the parameters with your team. I only, if you're going to get into channeling, this is my thing that I say. I only will channel beings that serve my highest and greatest good. I will only channel beings that serve the greatest good of the person that I'm working with, and no beings that come through can damage the channel, which is me. So those are the parameters I have set. And because I've set those parameters, I've never had a negative entity come through. I've channeled some darker beings, but never darker beings that want to do me harm or give bad information to someone else that I'm speaking to. So.
I'm just going to pipe in real quick. We have to say goodbye to Ruth. Ruth has to head out. And I just want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. And hopefully maybe you're open to doing this again, and we'll do it some other time.
If I'm invited, I'd love to. It was really fun.
Okay,
thank you so
cool.
much. It was a pleasure to meet you, David. Thank you so much for your nice comments, your sweet comments. I've heard a lot about you as well, and this was really fun. I was nervous, but it's been good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm so glad.
Oh, you're not the only one. I'm sweating here. This is not my thing. You know? I mean, the work is, but not the public part.
I gotcha. Yeah, I'm so glad to have met you. You're great. You're super chill and you're honest and straightforward, which I love.
Oh, I love it too, because, I have no other way. I don't even understand how these people like lie about it. Like, you don't know. Don't pretend you know. You're just the channel. You know what I mean? But I think you're great, and I'm going to be booking a reading with you, a session with you, because
Okay, maybe we'll do an exchange then.
Oh, that'd be awesome, because I have my own questions about stuff. And, this is what we do. We just exchange and we learn about each other, and this has really been fun. So, I did make an offer, because I'm so sorry. I have grandma staying with my tiny gnome, and it's 10 o'clock here where I am. So he's only 2, and I'm sure he's up. But I did make an offer, Alicia, if you want to throw it out there, that stands for anybody that had a question that was reading. Okay.
Okay, so I think we should limit it though to the first. How many people? You got?
How many people do we have waiting right now? Like,
Carol had a message. Carol had a quick question, and then now I lost the thing. It was Carol, Ray, and then Val, or so it was Carol first, and then maybe Val and Ray.
Okay, so that's it. Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay, and then I have Lonnie in there too, because Lonnie has questions, but she's like you, she's not, like, she's too nervous to ask questions with everybody. So that would be, let me write this down. Carol, Ray, and Lonnie. Okay, that's good. That's good. If you guys can contact me at Your Temple Beautiful, I'll write it down. At Yahoo, sorry, I don't know where that came from. Gmail.com. I will, oh, I sent that to you. I will set you guys up with, Ruth was doing what? What did you want to do? 20 minutes?
Oh yeah, so anybody that's been waiting on me, and now all of a sudden the time, it was great, so the time went by, and yeah. So if you're waiting, Alicia's gonna give you my contact info, and we'll do like a 20-minute reading, if that's fine, and that way we'll be able to, I'll at least meet my obligation and get a chance to chat with everybody that's here tonight waiting, and then if anybody else additionally has a question that they need answered, or they reflect on something, feel free to reach out to me too.
Yep. And do you want to, can you give your email out loud and your Instagram out loud, and then I'll let you go.
Okay. All right. I have a disclaimer with the Instagram, right? So I don't like social media, but unfortunately it's a thing in this world. So I slapped together an Instagram because Alicia made me, because they're like, I don't have anything to send them about you. I'm like, just tell them I'm a mom in New Jersey. You can text me. But anyway, so I am That Gnome's Mama. So it's GNOMESMOMMA. That Gnome's Mama, because I call my little dude a gnome. So that's my Instagram thing. It has like 3 pictures. So you can get me there, or you can also get me at R and like Nancy, GARET, as in tomorrow, at Yahoo. Okay. And I will say that That Gnome's Mama comes up as Carla Ricardo. That's a nod to my dad, who disowned me because he was Carlos Ricardo. So I made myself Carla Ricardo. And that was just the name I slapped on the Instagram thing because it was great, because I could.
So, okay. So if Carol, Ray, Val, and Lonnie, if you guys can contact me at my email address or send me a private message, I'll get you guys hooked up. Otherwise, for the rest of you guys, hopefully we'll do this soon. And you can contact Ruth through her Instagram or her email for more information on sessions. And then David, do you wanna do your thing? Tell people where to contact you.
Do you want me to do my plug?
Yes, please do a plug. Yes.
Okay. If you want to check out, I have a YouTube channel. If you just put in David Lotherington, I have some videos. Okay. My website's www.davidlotherington.com, and I think that might be posted in the chat already. You can click that. I have some information on myself and all that jazz. I do a mentorship program where I teach people how to awaken their psychic abilities from the ground up, from step 1 to step whatever we're at now. And I personalize the package to that individual person just to help them with their journey. So I do a bunch of other stuff, including energy healing, Akashic records reading, blah, blah, blah. And if you're curious, just shoot me a message.
Are you still doing implant stuff?
Yeah, so I do entity removal and implant removal. I don't like doing possession stuff. That's just too extreme right now, but yeah.
Nobody likes doing that.
That's if you need that, you have to go to Ruth.
No, then I'm going to send you to somebody else. No, I mean, I will do some dark things depending on the person and situation. If it's like super crazy dark, I have to read the situation.
Yeah,
But
I go dark, yeah, but I don't want to go to the darkest depth of hell to frickin', help somebody. I'd rather keep in a medium range if I can.
right, just a little speckling of badness,
And then I think to end it, Ruth, you can head out if you have to go. I know you're late already, but I just want to give some blessings. Will, you want to give a blessing? David, anybody else want to give blessings?
Hold on.
Give one or get one?
Give one, or
No,
you'll
no.
all get them. But if you want to give one.
All right, I'm gonna just leave. Thank you again so much. You guys were awesome. I really
Pleasure
appreciate
meeting
it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll go first, and then Will, and then David, maybe, and anybody else who would like to. So thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. I hope you guys had fun, and I hope you have a blessed rest of the night. Namaste.
We come in this reunion from all directions, from all planes of experience. And in this dream that we are having in this moment, we find a unity for just a brief moment before returning to our everyday lives, where we were able to rejoin the rest of society and humanity and the regular energies which are part of our everyday life. So with this, we love you, we thank you for coming, and we bless you.
Bless you too.
Next. Oh, I have to unmute
You're
you.
muted, Will.
Okay, I unmuted you.
Excellent. Greetings.
Hey, Will.
Taharia nahatakati rasa. Shohu toru kasanania. Arahaska arahatiti ranarioto. Shoshokoro hananaharatiti tarayata. Shosho oho nananahareka. Arasawata ratasanani tokocha awania. Sasakanare hisawaratu. Aratukuna harahasisiaria. Atakanahe isaya. Artatakaya taka. Hutononohoro hasako tokoroshi. Sahyanata arihananakayata. Namaste.
Will, do you translate light language?
I can. I wasn't paying attention because they said you could do it if you want. I can tap in if you need.
Do you mind if I do a translation?
Oh, please. I'd be honored.
Okay. Let's see if I can get it back there. Greetings and welcome. We have been observing you through your meeting, and we want to know how you express yourselves in your everyday lives. I think I'm picking up on a different transmission, actually.
Keep going, though. Keep going. Keep going. Their message is necessary.
Okay. From this experience that you have gathered, it assembles that message within yourself. Take what resonates with you and move on with that which doesn't. Know that these things that you hear are parts of yourself that you are remembering. This essence, which is within you, is ready and bubbling upwardly. It is a moment, a spark, a reunion, and a union with oneself. Remember that you have full capability and ability to find yourself in a similar place to those which you may see from as far away from yourself. Just know that it is okay to be where you are, and to not desire to be in other places is also fully as acceptable. So move forward with direction and love and know that you too can find happiness where you are.
That was amazing. That was beautiful.
Perfect.
You said bubbling.
There you go. Okay.
Did you want to do one?
Sure. And mea kunua sakeena shike ua sa evanaya nandoru ko shike sa menua kas eshknaya ua mayua sa shike menyaku san dia shakun atuenai. From time to time, there are places and moments where you will find those which resonate with yourself. Remember, during these times and moments which you experience with others, they are like snowflakes which touch each other as they fall. This may be a fleeting moment, but the imprint of the other snowflake is always rested upon you as it has touched you in a particular way. Now move forward with this imprint and allow this imprint to serve you better as it helps you grow, as it's changed your imprint to be that of your greatest good. Amen.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And we will definitely do this again, and we'll keep you all posted. I hope you guys have a blessed evening, blessed Halloween, and amazing week. So yeah, okay. Blessings. Have a great night, everyone.
Blessings.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Thank you.